Do you listen to this podcast? Do you give a shit? Well, that's it, everyone.
Are we just like workshopping some openings here?
Yeah, and this can all be cut or it could all be left in. It doesn't matter.
Let's try out some concepts.
Absolutely. Okay. Maybe you know what? I think we need to take this like just in a complete different direction. I think we need to do improv. Niamh, you are headed to the post office, but you're late. Bryan, you're a cop who's also at the post office, who has got a description that a drug deal is going down with someone by the description of Niamh. Action.
But I'm late, so I don't see him.
Yes, and?
Hello, sir. I want to buy some stamps.
Oh yes, and?
To post my mail.
Your mail? Well, let me just sniff this mail. Dare I say, drugs?
It's me, Wallet Tim, owner of this here post office.
Who the flock are you?
Hello, lady. You got my drug? Oh, the cops.
Yeah, that's me, old Oinky McPigman.
Let's all agree never to try this ever again. Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast, the world's strongest video game podcast. I am sitting here with two of the most dangerous podcasters on the entire planet. To my left, hailing from Violence City, it's the Knuckleball, Bryan.
Hi everybody, I don't know how to do stuff on the spot sometimes, and it sounds like fucking shit.
Don't worry, I saved it with my quick thinking and great character work. To my right, wearing her necklace of earrings, it's the knife finger.
Oh, sure.
Niamh.
I'm really good at improv.
Yeah, and who are you, good sir?
With you always, I'm your
Professional
host.
actor.
Professional actor. Professional voice actor.
Professional Imagineer.
Professional Imagineer, John.
A.K.A. Wiley Tim.
A.K.A. Wiley Tim. No, that was my horse. Oh, wait, did I... Oh,
yeah, see, you're still thinking about that horse.
I'm still thinking about Wiley Tim. Me and Wiley Tim had some real good times. I feel so bad for all the times I rode him off a cliff, into a cliff, or on fire. Let me tell you, I loved Wiley Tim a lot. That horse had a bad fucking life.
I treated my horse so well. That last moment where Arthur doesn't want to leave without saying thank you, that kills me.
Yeah.
I still think about it.
Did you ever finish Red Dead?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like talking about it. It was too emotionally raw.
I got like 3 horses in that game. I hoarded myself out. I was in the stables.
I was like that for a while, but then I spent $500 on a horse, and I was like, well, you're getting a name. And so Wiley Tim was born. Deathface went back in the stable. Guys, I want to kick this podcast off on a positive note. I'm going to bring in everyone's favorite section. It's Wrestle Talk.
Alright, go on, get it done.
Okay, so WrestleMania happens, and have you guys heard anything about WrestleMania?
I heard it was a good one.
Okay.
I heard it's a good one until the very end, and then it was a bad one.
Okay, this is one of those situations where, like, I watch something, and I'm like, ooh, it's not that was not good. And then I go online and everyone's like, it's pretty good. And I hate that, because then I have to be the asshole who's like, well, no it wasn't, because it's my job to talk about this stuff sometimes. And, okay, but to not get too negative, I have made a list of things I liked and then things I didn't like.
I think that's always fair.
Yeah, and do you know what? There is actually more stuff I liked on here than not.
First off, how long was this WrestleMania?
All in all, with the pre-show, about 7 hours.
That is insane.
What's insane about it?
Did you just 7 hours in a row?
Pretty much.
You may as well fly to WrestleMania at that point, because that's how long it took.
Sometimes I watch like every match from the G1 from New Japan. That's like, I think, 30 to 40 hours of wrestling over the course of a month.
You're a freak.
I am not. I just appreciate the art of people hurting each other. Pretend. Anyway, look, we're off topic. Okay, liked Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss hosted this year's WrestleMania. She is a mean girl in wrestling, and I like her a lot. She's good at talking. She looks cool. She's not a bad wrestler. That was really nice. The show starts off with Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins, and this match was like, it was surprising because it was for the WWE title. It was kind of like semi-main event picture, that kind of thing. And Brock Lesnar lost clean. And I think people knew that was going to happen, but it was a fun little match. It didn't take up too much time. It was cool. Miz versus Shane was good. Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. Have you guys heard anything about Kofi Kingston?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Niamh, what do you know?
I know that it's been a constant uphill battle for him, but it's kind of come to fruition.
So Kofi is a really, really good wrestler. He's not huge, and he's not, like, he's charismatic, but, like, not on the mic. And so, like, he has been working. He's basically been the third member of the New Day for such a long time. He's been in the company for 11 years. Just the very definition of a mid-card wrestler. But all of a sudden, I think 2 or 3 months ago, they started pushing Kofi. They put him in, like, a gauntlet match just for the hell of it, where he'd have to, like, beat one guy, then beat another guy, then beat another guy, then beat another guy, which, like, you kind of can't win if you're the first person in. But, like, completely out of the blue, he gets right to the end, and everyone's going fucking insane. They can't believe this, because it's so, like, he really deserves it, and he's really cool, and then he loses right at the end. And so, for about 3 months, we've had all these, like, we've had all these situations where Kofi has been, like, so close to getting the title, and then, like, right at the last minute, Vince McMahon, for just no reason at all, just pulls the rug out from under him. And it's been really fun to watch, and it's been a genuinely good storyline. And he finally had his title match against Daniel Bryan, and I'd say match of the night. It was really, really good. And then when Kofi won, it's like his buddies from the New Day came in. Have you guys seen the New Day?
Yeah, they're cool guys.
They're cool guys. And then, like, his son came in, and his son was, like, delighted to be there. Well, 2 sons. One of them seemed, like, not quite old enough to really comprehend what was happening, but this other son was, like, so happy. And it was just really, really sweet, good moments. Super, super down for that. Then we had Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio. And I love Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, outside of WWE, is called the Samoan Killing Machine. And when he fights someone, the crowd chant, "Joe's gonna kill you, Joe's gonna kill you, Joe's gonna kill you." And he's fucking brilliant. And so he had this match against this legend, Rey Mysterio. And, you know, you've probably seen Rey Mysterio at some point.
Rey.
Yeah. And Joe fucking murdered him in about 30 seconds and just choked him out. And I was so happy.
Poor Rey.
Poor Rey, but Rey's kind of done it all. You know, like, Rey, this does not hurt Rey at all. If it was a younger wrestler, that might kind of hurt him, but it was totally fine. So then we had a match, Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle, and this was Kurt Angle's retirement match.
Aww.
And yeah, and it's like, a lot of people were upset that Baron Corbin was his final opponent, because I think Baron Corbin, he's a real just generic heel wrestler. He wears a shirt and pants. That's the most notable thing really about him. And he just didn't seem like a great opponent for Kurt Angle's last match. But the match itself was totally fine. It was what it needed to be. But I thought it was really evident during the match that, like, you know, Kurt, he looked good. Like, you know, he's ripped and stuff, but he's old, like real old. And he's kind of, you know, he's not like the kind of the machine he used to be. And I think it was kind of sad. And so he lost, because everyone, you know, in WWE, you go out on your back. That's generally how it works. And he gave a really kind of touching little speech afterwards, and, like, his music played. And whenever Kurt Angle's when Kurt Angle was introduced first, he was originally a heel, and his music would play and people would chant "You suck," and that became a thing his entire career. And even when he became like, even when people started to like him and he became a face, people would still chant "You suck," because it was like kind of a term of endearment by then. And it just cut to like a sign in the crowd, and it just said, "Kurt, you never sucked." And I thought that was really sweet, and like just like his last kind of moments in the ring, and he kind of just left, and it really got to me. It brought a little tear to my eye, because I really liked Kurt. I hated Kurt Angle when he first came into it, and then I was like, oh wait, you're meant to hate him, and then I just loved him. I thought he was fucking brilliant. Like, he'd come out to the ring and people would boo him, and he'd get on the mic and he'd be like, "You do not boo an Olympic hero. Now let me explain to you how I became an Olympic hero."
Let's go with all the medals.
It's the 3 I's: integrity, intelligence, and intensity. And he was so such a fucking square, and just so perfect, and hell of a wrestler as well. Had some incredible matches over the years. He had a really amazing match with Brock Lesnar just on a SmackDown one day, just on like not a house show, but like just a TV show, and it really got me seeing him go. And I thought, he was great, and he's had his personal problems big time over the years. I think kind of the wrestling industry started to get to him, like it starts to get to a lot of people, but I thought this was a really nice send off to him. That was everything I liked about WrestleMania.
That doesn't mention the main event.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Okay, well, this ties into my one biggest problem with WrestleMania. I didn't think the wrestling was very good. And I feel like if that's the case, fundamentally something's going to be a little off. A lot of people... What I've seen from a lot of people is they were very happy from the results of the matches. Basically, all the heroes won. Everyone the crowd likes won. I've never really cared... no, that's not true. I guess I care more about how someone wins or loses versus if they win or lose. And a lot of these matches, they were the real WWE spot fest, where it was like finisher, 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 and just kind of... it keeps going like that, rather than kind of building it up or telling a story. Like, very few people really sold. There was no narrative to a lot of the matches, and that was my general problem kind of across the board. And I thought that made for some really boring matches, which we'll get into. Okay. So first things first, Hulk Hogan comes out. And Brian's laughing.
Yeah.
He's fucking weird.
Okay.
Like, he's a problem.
Okay, back in the day, you would not find a bigger Hulk Hogan fan than me. I fucking loved Hulk Hogan. Like, real childhood hero kind of shit.
Really?
Yeah. Oh man, Niamh, I loved Hulk. He was the Hulkster. You couldn't beat him.
I know, but he was kind of lame.
Looking...
He was a real American.
You tell that to fucking 80s everyone. He, like... Back then, he was kind of a sensation, and he was one of these wrestlers who, it's like, he wasn't even a great wrestler. Amazing on the mic, a lot of charisma and all this kind of stuff, but yeah, I really loved Hulk Hogan when I was a kid. I had a Hulk Hogan teddy.
That's very cute.
Quiet. It's weird seeing him on WWTV nowadays after he kind of like said what he said. And it's kind of a difficult position for me to be in, because like, it's absolutely not my place to say if what he said was okay or not, or even to forgive him or not, and it just made me kind of uncomfortable seeing him again. Like, I didn't give a shit about him like doing his poses or saying his all his Hulk stuff. Like, it was just weird, and I thought it started WrestleMania off on a weird tone. I know probably a lot of people are going to disagree with that, and probably other stuff I have to say this as well, but look, it's the kind of thing where it's like, we come on this podcast, we say what we feel about things. I don't think I know that my life, saying this shit is not going to make my life any easier, trust me, but I could have done without him. I think, to me, Hulk Hogan's kind of... I don't really know how you were what he was, and then you say what he said, and you really come back from that without making a lot of very public efforts, which I don't think he's really done. I know he's issued apologies to people backstage, but like, what about the fans that would have been really hurt by what he said and stuff. So anyway, look, it's difficult to talk about, but I wasn't really up for seeing him. A lot of the matches were fine, but the problem with that is I come to WrestleMania wanting to have my fucking head blown off. I want to be like, oh my god, that was insane, and anything less than that and I'm going to be disappointed. Like, I want, Undertaker versus Triple H from, WrestleMania 25, or I think that's what it was, and I never got that. I didn't think there was one real standout match. Even Kofi versus Bryan, that was like a really good pay-per-view match. I wouldn't have called it like an amazing WrestleMania match. There was some fucking shit shows though, and the biggest one by far was Dave Batista versus Triple H. Batista went off and he's kind of become a movie star, and then he kind of came back, and some of the stuff they did was really fun and stupid when he came back. It was Ric Flair's 70th birthday, and everyone's like, come on out, Rick! Rick? Where's Rick? And then it cuts backstage and Batista is dragging Ric Flair down the hall, this unconscious 70-year-old man, and he's like, I'll kill your whole family, Triple H, until you give me a match. Because after like 10 years, for whatever reason, Batista is really angry at Triple H. That's the storyline. And the story, like, it was a fun build, but Jesus Christ, Batista really looks like a man who has not been in the ring for a decade. He fucking sucked. He tripped when he came in the ring.
Ooh.
Yep. And then, like, now just to be clear, he looked amazing. Like, Batista is a genetically incredible person, but he was out of breath so fast. And like, me and Michelle were watching together, and like, I was going, what the fuck is wrong with Batista? And Michelle was just like, what's wrong with Batista? And it was just painful to watch. This, like, I swear to God, there were like minute and a half long periods of this match where neither wrestler did a move. They just kind of rolled around the ring like exhausted and out of breath. And Triple H was doing what, like, Triple H can still get it done, He's much older now. God, he looks fucking amazing. Holy shit. It's like he doesn't age. He just fucking, his beard grows longer and thicker every year. I thought the match was a train wreck. They did all these spots like Triple H pulling Batista's nose ring out with a set of pliers, and it was just the corniest shit I've ever seen. Like, it was just lame.
That sounds kind of funny.
Yeah.
Triple H kind of looks like a real version of one of the gargoyles from the Gargoyle cartoon.
I absolutely agree, and I also think that's a really good thing. Like, I hope I look like that someday.
I hope it for you too.
Just one of them gargoyles would be so good. Even the scrawny red one would be fine.
I do really like when Triple H wears like human clothes, and you're like, he's got wings under there.
You know who looks real fucking weird in human clothes? John Cena. If you ever watched like Total Bellas or anything like that?
Oh, don't worry. I will be talking about John Cena later.
Oh boy, okay.
Yeah.
Whenever he wears, and it's only because he's so fucking jacked, but whenever he wears clothes, it looks like the clothes are trying to like escape away from his body.
There's just shorts underneath all the time. You must like him for that reason, Brian.
A fellow short enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
They're comfy and easy to wear.
That's pretty good. Okay. Super petty complaints. No Asuka the entire show.
What's the point?
Maybe she was on the pre-show, I can't remember, but like, they have this fucking amazing talent, and they do nothing with her, and they fed her to Charlotte, and just she lost the belt, and it sucked. And it just makes me so sad when I think about like Asuka's NXT run, how amazing she was, and just what a side note she feels like. And I hate that, because she is like my favorite wrestler. Yeah, her and Kenny are kind of, and Ibushi are kind of all my favorite, but still, yeah. Anyway, women's main event. This is the main event of the entire show. First time women have ever headlined WrestleMania. Super fucking cool. I think everyone in this match is really, really talented. I was really excited. But there was a problem. And I think the first thing was, it was a triple threat match. And I don't like triple threat matches, because when I watch a wrestling match, I like to see a narrative kind of form between two sides, What are you smiling at, Niamh?
It's just like you're like your competition of equals kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, it's fucking lame. That's how I am. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I like. And I think it's very hard to get any kind of storyline really going with a triple threat match. And so there was some really cool spots, and like obviously all the women are really talented, but I just felt like there was no real bite to the match. All these women have been in better matches that were not this match. And then the finish happens, and it's like Becky pinning Ronda. But it's, first of all, it's like a roll-up. It's not like a decisive win. You know, it's not like she hit her with a big move and finished her. It was kind of just like sort of this roll-up that didn't go great. Like, it didn't look very well.
Yeah, to me, it looked like a stalemate, and you couldn't tell who was pinning who. Because it was a reversal. And I was like, wait, who's tapping out?
Yeah. And then on top of that as well, it's like Ronda's shoulders were up.
Oh.
And I don't know if this was a botch or what, because the commentators were like, were Ronda's shoulders up? But then and I was like, wait, what, is that the match over? And then it ended. And it was like, oh, Becky's the champion now. And the fact that Becky's the champion, that's awesome. Like, that was the right result for that match. But the way it got there, it just felt really odd. Like, just really like, oh, like anticlimactic, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that match should have been incredible. And even like, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good match, and like a solid ending probably would have tied it. But I didn't think they stuck the landing at all. And it just...
Do you think they're using it as some kind of work where Ronda will be like, you didn't really beat me, Becky, so they can kind of extend that storyline?
Nearly definitely, but they haven't mentioned it on Raw or SmackDown.
That's weird.
Yeah.
An unintentional work.
Let me tell you, those are the best parts of wrestling, but not this time. So yeah, like I was left thinking this is kind of one of the shittier WrestleManias I've seen, and I hate saying that because I wanted it to be good. You know, I always want stuff to be good, but I was real disappointed with it. I'm glad people have enjoyed it. I wish I was one of them, but yeah, bring Oscar back. This concludes Wrestle Talk. Thank you everyone for listening to me.
Thank you, John.
No problem. I'm going to remain silent for the rest of the podcast now. Go for it, guys. Niamh,
Yes.
why don't you tell us about Killing Eve?
So Killing Eve was... Season 1 was probably some of the best TV I'd ever seen, and I was a very big supporter of it on this podcast.
It's a good show.
It's a good show.
Season 2 has started airing, so it's one episode in, and it airs on Sunday. So the first episode of Season 2 airs, and it continues 10 minutes after the end of the first season.
I love that.
I love it too, and you're just like right back in it, and like it was just a kind of spectacular first episode where at the end of season 1, spoilers for season 1 of Killing Eve, Vivinelle is very mortally wounded. Like, she is on death's door. I guess not mortally. Near mortally?
She gets fucking shivved
Yeah.
real bad.
She is like about to die, and you spend that entire first episode rooting for her, and you're just like, shit, come on, pull it through. She feels like she's being chased. She's like trying to get herself stitched up. She's trying to get herself out of different situations.
But she's no money or anything. She's nothing.
Yeah, she's the complete underdog. And it's been a season, and like you've kind of forgotten things. And the synopsis for season 1 at the start is quite vague, and intentionally so, because it kind of lulls you into this position where you're championing someone who is just fundamentally awful, just an awful person, and then out of nowhere the show snaps you back to reality in such brutal forcefulness and shockingness that you're just like, oh fuck, I forgot it's Vivinelle, you know? And it's like, it's a real testament to the writing in Killing Eve, that the first episode of the second season can kind of capture what exactly is great about it, and it's just this complete play of your emotions where you honestly feel like you're being seduced into loving a character you probably shouldn't love, and then reminding you and reminding you and reminding you and letting you sit with that kind of information again and again. It's funny, it's charming, it's violent, it's scary, it's so many things, And we're at a point now where Villanelle is coming for Eve, and I am so scared for her.
Yep.
Like, it's really great, and that is like one episode into season 2.
It's exactly how I feel about Riverdale.
John, no.
No, I really, really, really love the cat and mouse game they have. I think my favorite part was one of the best jokes Fiona Shaw's done. Her character in the park with the kid, where she's like, "That's not my kid." But she was sitting with the fucking kid at the start of the scene. What the fuck is wrong with that woman?
Fiona Shaw's character is hilarious.
She's such a strange person.
Oh.
My aunt went to school with her.
It's just Ireland's small world.
Yeah,
Small
Ireland,
world.
Yeah. Have you watched Fleabag yet?
No.
Okay, because Fleabag season 2 just ended as Killing Eve season 2 just started, and because it's the same creator, a lot of those weird jokes are also in Fleabag. And I know the writer Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the way because she writes the 2 shows at the same time, but she'll come up with a weird joke and she doesn't know which TV show to put it into.
That's so funny how it could go either way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get into Fleabag. I think I've heard enough good things.
I think you like season 2. There's a Catholic priest in it, and things go real bad.
Awesome.
Guys, I read Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley.
Oh yeah.
This is what he wrote after Scott Pilgrim.
I've been meaning to read this for literally years, and someone gave it to me as a gift, and I decided to read it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and probably more so from like, I guess, like the art standpoint. Like, God, the art is so good in it. And like the main girl in it, she's like this 27-year-old girl with like spiky red hair, and the way he kind of like has a shorthand for drawing her is really endearing, because sometimes she's like, you know, pretty much like a proportional person, and then sometimes she's like this weird little gremlin, and it's really funny watching him kind of use that. And it's just like, I think this is maybe the first comic he's ever done where he hired a colorist, and the colors are so fucking good. Like, it's beautiful. The whole thing has this like I guess kind of burnt orange kind of palette, and I've never really seen someone use it the way it's used here, and it really punched up the art a lot. I thought it was like really good. I like the story as well. Like, the characters were all, I guess I kind of feel like maybe with the story, like I kind of felt about a lot of the Scott Pilgrim story. I thought the characters were really fun, but the story itself maybe wasn't that great, and especially towards the end where it starts to get very like kind of overly surreal in a way. Everything then just kind of works out. Do you know what I mean? But I really had a good time with this, and I wasn't expecting to, because I was never like the biggest Scott Pilgrim fan or anything. But if people want just like a really nice comfy read with some really beautiful artwork, I'd really recommend this. It was fun. Brian,
Yes.
tell us about Bumblebee.
Bumblebee. This is the new Transformers movie that is a spin-off of the Michael Bay films, but it takes place in the late 80s.
Right.
And it's about how Bumblebee ended up on planet Earth before all the other Autobots.
Man, I've been fucking just asking that forever.
And how
Me and Niamh are always like, how did he get there?
And how he got himself established and set up, you know, the beacon and
Oh yeah.
and all that.
All those critical questions.
I really like this film.
Oh yeah?
Really? Yeah.
This isn't directed by Michael Bay. It's produced by Michael Bay and Allspark. And I guess disclaimer, I work on Transformers as well, so that's kind of weird territory.
Okay, Brian, we're gonna have to actually shut this section down. That's not gonna work.
And
Niamh, we can edit all this out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
Like,
well,
scrub it clean.
Clean, off the record.
Yeah, gone.
I've managed to sneak this back into the podcast, and I'm going to talk about Transformers briefly.
Okay.
I love Transformers. I like the Michael Bay films. They are heavily criticized.
When you say you love Transformers, do you love the transforming robots or the Michael Bay films, or both?
Both.
Okay.
I love Transformers.
Who's your favorite Transformer, Brian?
Probably Grimlock.
He's my favorite.
He's fucking
He's
brilliant.
so good.
And in the show I'm on, Grimlock is in every episode at the moment, and it's very funny.
I remember when I was watching Transformers once, and Grimlock said, I think this is the first like piece of dialogue I ever remembered. He just goes, "Looks like the Autobots have bitten off more than they can chew," and I thought that was really clever.
That is something
because he's a dinosaur.
Anyway, Bumblebee takes place in the 80s, and I guess it does the Stranger Things where it does the 80s nostalgia wank fest.
Right.
Gets that over and done with, in, out of the way.
Good stuff.
But what you have is a movie that's kind of similar to E.T., where it's about a robot from space landing on Earth, gets severely wounded in a skirmish with a Decepticon on his way down.
This isn't E.T. at all.
And he's left in a fragile state in which he has amnesia, can't take care of himself, can't talk.
E.T. got really badly wounded.
But this is the bit.
Sick.
He's not meant to look like that.
But
Brian, no, we're done.
This is
Sorry.
He disguises himself as a vehicle, gets taken back home by a teenage girl, transforms into his regular form, and is scared shitless, shivering in a corner.
Does he hide in her closet and there's like a whole pile of like stuffed toys around him, and she's like,
Brian, I think you might have just seen E.T.
There's a bit where he goes around the house when nobody's home.
What was the name of the movie?
Bumblebee.
Okay.
There's a bit where he goes around the house when nobody's at home and he makes shit of the entire house because he's too big and awkward.
Okay, right.
He's just this weird alien robot that has no idea what he is, but sometimes I guess it's kind of like the Iron Giant then.
Yeah, E.T. was very scary.
This is a bit scary. It's got mild peril.
Okay.
But like the thing with what I liked about this film is that there's only about like 5 or 6 characters in this movie. He gets chased up upon by two other Decepticons. This like a male and female Decepticon like kind of tag team unit like go after him, and they team up with the government man who's John Cena.
Oh, nice.
And John Cena is just like, yeah, I saw that guy on the way down the skirmish. Give me this scar. Let's get this little bastard. And like he's playing that kind of.
Was he good?
Yeah, he's good. He's very much aware he's in a children's movie, and he's the bad guy, and he's just playing a tough, mean guy that lets you go at the end. You know, it's that like. But the film is directed by Travis Knight, and he's a director from Laika. He directed Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh well. Okay.
I don't know why he's directing this movie, but he is. But it feels a lot more like the Transformers I grew up with rather than the Transformers that kind of comes out now.
Yeah.
They have a bit at the beginning where all the Autobots are fighting the Decepticons, but it's their original 80s designs with the budget of a Michael Bay movie.
That's really cool.
And like sound waves in it and everything, and his cassette opens up and the guy comes, like it's fucking perfect.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Do you think Michael Bay was looking at the designs and were like, these are shit, but like, yeah, okay, whatever?
I don't know if he's seen the original Transformers, because the stuff in his films where you're just like, okay, sure, but that's not what. Okay,
I think his Transformers look like fucking garbage. They look so bad. And the moment they start fighting, they just turn into a mass of, like, indecipherable metal.
It's very difficult to read the fights in his films.
Yeah.
The fights in this movie are very clean.
Oh, cool.
Because it's directed by a guy with a history in stop motion animation, I think there's that level of precision that he has, where like you can go through frame by frame and you can read clean silhouettes in every single frame.
That's really cool.
So I do highly recommend it. If you haven't seen the Transformers movie in a while and are wondering what they're up to these days, check this movie out. And Hayley Stanfield's in it. She's great. She's also in Edge of 17. Which, Niamh, you like that movie as well? You told me you liked it.
I'm blanking on it right now, but I'm sure I did like it.
She's in True Grit as well. She's great. I like her.
Niamh, why don't you tell us about something you do like? Derry Girls?
I love Derry Girls.
Okay, yeah, that segue worked perfectly.
She likes the show.
Glad we don't have to go back and re-record that.
I can't believe I slept on Derry Girls for so long. So season 2 just ended like last night. I just finished season 1 and I'm going to start into season 2, and it's been renewed for season 3. So congratulations, Derry Girl team. Derry Girls is a show about a group of girls and one boy in a Catholic all-girls school during the Troubles in Northern Ireland.
The Troubles.
So it's set in like 98. And it is just spectacularly Irish in a way that is so hard to really comment on, because it's so everything you know, but to an outside person it must seem insane. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like there's mammy logic with like she can't do a half wash, she needs to do a full load kind of thing. There's weird family politics. It's just really quintessential Irish in the 90s stuff. Like there's a moment in the Catholic school where they have Chernobyl visitors come over. I don't know if that happened in your towns where you were from.
It happened in my school.
Did you have Chernobyl?
I don't think so.
So like it was like people from Chernobyl came over to Ireland, and Ireland had this big push for some reason to get like Chernobyl people over, students over, and it was just like it brought the 90s and 2000s flooding back to me in a really extreme way. Because there was a real like nuclear panic in Ireland for a little bit. Do you remember that when we had to? Did you write the letters to Sellafield to Tony
I sure
Blair?
did, yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
So like in 2002, like all Irish kids in national school were meant to write a postcard to Tony Blair, the English Prime Minister, that was basically, "Don't let me die of radiation."
There was a nuclear power plant on the west coast of England that Ireland was worried about because they would be receiving the winds from that nuclear power plant.
Like nothing ever happened with it.
No.
But there was a bit of a nuclear panic in Ireland for a while. Brought all that stuff back.
Is there foot and mouth disease in it?
No,
foot
that
and
comes
mouth
later.
disease.
That comes later in the Irish history.
Fucking ground the country to a halt.
But it's just like the I guess the positive spin or the pure comedy that Irish people have in the face of something so like terribly violent. Like the girls are on the school bus and like, you know, there's armed soldiers getting in and they're just like, oh yeah, go on, you know. And there's just it's just really something special because it captures a time that was so horrible and horrific and scarring, and it shows how life went on. And then the final episode shows kind of like life going on and then the brutality of it as well. And it has like an amazing finale that I won't spoil for anyone, but like it was heartbreaking in all the right ways. One of my favorite episode is the girls have a test. They have their end of year exams coming up. And they go to pray at the statue of Virgin Mary.
Holy Mary herself.
And they've chased a dog in, and the dog pees, and it spills down on the Virgin Mary's face, so it looks like she's crying tears.
Oh, God.
So they tell the nun, because they go to a Catholic school, that there was, like, a miracle to get out of their exam. And it's just great. It's like small town politics. You don't want to piss off the person who owns the chipper. You know.
No, you don't.
It's really great, and it's really Irish. And since they've been taking kind of TV ratings in Northern Ireland, this has done the best since they've ever recorded it.
Wow.
Yeah, it has like 2 million viewers concurrently at all times, like when it's airing, and it's just doing amazing. It's been compared to stuff like Father Ted as in terms of just like kind of quintessential, captures the Irish psyche of a time kind of way.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely brilliant. I'm really happy to start into season 2 and really delighted that it kind of got a 3rd season out of it. But if you are Irish or English, you can watch it on the Channel 4 player. If you're an American, I believe it's on American Netflix.
Weird.
I know, super weird. I love to see how Americans deal with the Northern Irish accents.
Yeah, can you watch that with the subtitles on?
I've always been super curious to watch Father Ted with an American.
Yeah, like, just that, like, because this is just so Irish and so Northern Irish. Like, it's like please, if you were an American and you were watching Derry Girls on Netflix, tell me what that was to you.
Or Father Ted, please.
Yeah.
I'd be very curious.
It must be like watching Aliens.
Yeah, it's so weird. Anyway, Derry Girls, really great experience. People should give it a go. It's 6 episodes. They're like 22 minutes each.
I'm checking that out. That sounds manageable. Guys, I watched the movie Christopher Robin.
Is this the Ewan McGregor movie?
This is not to be confused with Goodbye Christopher Robin, which
okay.
also came out in the last couple of years. Totally different movie. This is the Ewan McGregor one.
Oh,
okay.
Thanks for making that so confusing.
I thought it was pretty clear, I guess. Maybe.
So, Obi-Wan has a bear.
Obi-Wan has a bear. So, this movie takes place, Christopher Robin is all grown up, and then one day, Winnie the Pooh just shows up, and he's like, what the fuck? And
It comes out of a tree hole, doesn't it?
Comes out of a tree hole and just starts ruining Christopher Robin's life.
Why?
It just started, like, not intentionally, just starts falling asleep in the wrong places, gets honey everywhere. My girlfriend Michelle was super into this movie. She's seen it 3 times, and so she wanted to watch it with me, and after watching it, this is a very surprising movie. It is... There are moments in this movie that verge on, like, existential, where it's like Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh, and Christopher Robin's like, I guess I always leave things behind, and Winnie the Pooh looks at him and's like, did you leave me behind, Christopher? I think you'd actually really get a kick out of this film, Niamh, because all, like, the whole gang's there. Like, Tigger, the weird kangaroo, that psychopathic rabbit. Eeyore is very much there. Eeyore is, like, bordering on, like, suicidal in this movie.
Did they
like,
bring back
always been.
Did they bring back Optimus Prime to voice him again?
I don't know, but the voice is great.
Autobots roll out.
What's cool about, like, all the animals in this is they all look like shit. Like, as in, they all look like they've been through some stuff. Like, Winnie the Pooh is all, like, beat up and, like, kind of torn, and they all animate not like cartoon characters, but like stuffed animals trying to move. Like, they're so awkward, and it is like the most endearing shit in the world.
They're based on the real teddies of the characters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, the design of Winnie the Pooh is based on an actual teddy bear.
Yeah.
From the A.A. Milne books rather than the Disney. Okay.
Yeah, it completely reads. And, like, they are cute. They are definitely cute. But they're not, like, modern cute. They have these, like, beady little eyes and stuff. Like, they look a little unsettling in a way that I was so into. The dialogue's hilarious. Like, the stuffed animals are really, really funny. Like, Eeyore is so, like, just, and I know he's always been this way, but he's so, like, misanthropic and just, like, there's a bit where they drop him and he's, like, floating down a river and he's like, just let me go. And Pooh is so fucking stupid and so lazy that he's like he's hanging out with Christopher Robin, and you're like, oh my god, this fucking bear, I'm so glad he's not in my life, you know. But he's so endearing as well, and I loved it. I really, really loved it for the first half of the movie.
Oh no.
The second half is totally fine, but the first half of the movie is like this really, like, sad, like, kind of touching story about this dude who's just completely lost touch with his life and what's important. And, like, it nearly feels like a little, like, kind of art house in a way that I thought was fucking, like, amazing. And then the second half of the movie is Pooh and crew need to get from point A to point B in the fastest time possible. Traveling across London, chaos ensues.
Oh boy.
That's for the kids.
That's totally for the kids. This movie feels like a kind of movie where someone wanted to make a real fucking weird Winnie the Pooh movie and they let him do it halfway.
It's like, I think the person who would want to make a Winnie the Pooh movie is someone where Winnie the Pooh meant something to them as a child, so they're now adult Christopher Robin. But the only way you're going to make Winnie the Pooh movie in 2018, I guess, when this came out, was if you tailor it to children. So it has to have this kind of compromise.
Did either of you guys see Where the Wild Things Are, the new one?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first half of it feels like that, and the second half of it is a kids movie.
Where the Wild Things Are is so fucking weird.
I
kind of hate that movie.
I went to see it with like 6 other people. They all hated it. I loved it.
I like that film.
Yeah, this movie feels, I guess, like maybe a bit more of an endearing version of that for the first half. And like, oh my god, if the second half had kind of matched the first half, this would honestly be like one of my favorite movies I've seen in the longest time. It's really, really good.
How annoying is Piglet in it? Piglet always pissed me off.
Piglet is actually doesn't have a whole lot in it.
Yeah, it's because
Good.
he's shit.
What about Tigger?
Yeah.
Tigger, he's not in it as much as Eeyore is, and I think that's the right call.
Yeah.
Because like
Tigger's a baller.
He's already got his move.
a little Tigger is great. A lot of Tigger. Yeah. He's got a pretty good song.
Okay.
But yeah, I really, really liked the movie. I kind of couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it. Guys, what's how we move into some strategy talk? Okay, here's my question. Sekiro first or last?
I think we leave it to last.
Leave it to last?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, Brian,
Yeah.
why don't you talk to me about Banjo-Kazooie?
Okay, I'm replaying Banjo-Kazooie. I am playing it on the Xbox 360. Remember that?
Boy, do I.
Such a great console.
Yeah.
It is such a dream to hold that controller again. It's such a nice controller. I'm replaying Banjo-Kazooie, and that game holds up. I am so happy. I'm so relieved that game is not a shit show like Donkey Kong 64. It plays so fucking nice as well on the 360 controller. Like, because it's a platformer, you need to be very, very precise when walking across beams. And like, the worst thing when you're playing a platformer is when you walk across a beam and the character has that weird dead zone startup where they just keep falling off the beam because you accelerate them too fast or too slow. Whereas this, it's got the reflex. I thought this game would be kind of repetitive, or I wouldn't know what to do, or I get fed up. But that game is very, very digestible per session. You can do a world in about half an hour.
Really?
There's only 9 levels / worlds in the game. So you could pace it out over 2 weeks, and it's great.
There's so many little touches about that game that I really loved. Like, I remember, do you know one of the first boss is like the giant crustacean boss?
Yeah.
It's not a crab, it's some shellfish thing.
Yeah, he is.
And then you beat him, but you don't get his jigsaw puzzle straight away. You have to go into his shell and like around just this little kind of mirror corridor they've built in there to the center, and then you get his jigsaw. And it's such a small little touch, but I think it's cute little imaginative bits like that made that game so rad.
Yeah, no, the game is full of that, and there are so many like well-designed characters that have like funny quips.
That Game Over Gruntilda, am I right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But they'll show up, and then like they only get used once, and you're like, okay, I guess that was that character. But then when you beat the game, you get a character parade, and you get to see all the characters one after another, and you're like, oh yeah, that guy. Some of the levels are amazing. I think the last level, Tick Tock Woods, or is it Click Clock Woods, is such a great gimmick, where you're in a woods, and it's a decent enough sized level, but in the middle of the level is a door you can go through, and you can go through the door as many times as you want, but every time you do it, you activate the next season. So you start off in the summer, then you go to autumn or winter, spring, and so on and so forth. But what happens is you'll go to certain parts of the level, like the lake, and it's frozen over in the winter, but during the spring you could swim through it. And then if you go to certain parts of the level in autumn, there's these big mountains of leaves. Such a cool mechanic.
Yeah, really, really cool. And like the transformations as well.
The transformations aren't that good in the first game.
But that's got the washing machine.
No, the second game is a washing machine.
Huh.
The first game has an ant, a pumpkin, a walrus, a bumblebee. The bumblebee is good, and probably another thing that I can't even... a little crocodile who's alright.
You know what, Brian, I concede my point.
Yeah. But I'm finding this game super charming, and it's super cool to just play a low poly game that's in HD, but all the textures are still low res. Just because I actually went back and replayed a bit of Ukulele again, because they announced on April 1st that they had an N64 mode, and I was like, that's so fucking cool. All it is it's a fucking filter, and they've like fucked with the textures a little bit, so it looks like you're playing a 3DS game on a big screen.
That sounds shit.
It's not good. I'm gonna play Banjo-Tooie next. That's a much more bloated game.
You originally liked Banjo-Tooie a lot better, didn't you?
I love Banjo-Tooie. It's going to be difficult to come back to it because the way Banjo-Kazooie is that there are 10 jigsaw pieces to collect in each level, and you can pretty much collect most of them in a level. Sometimes you need to backtrack because you need to unlock an ability to go back and collect everything. But a Banjo-Tooie, you can only do like 3 or 4 jigsaw pieces per level, and then you have to backtrack constantly.
Yeah, I had that a lot when I tried to play it a couple of years ago, and it kind of put me off it.
Yeah, and the levels are huge.
Yeah, they're gigantic.
It's very overwhelming. Like I like Banjo-Kazooie because of how digestible it is.
That's a really great game. I'd actually love to go back and play it, honestly.
You can get it on Rare Replay, and that Rare Replay disc costs €5 now.
I'd have to set up my 360 though.
No, your Xbox One. John, go to the shop, get an Xbox One, get Rare Replay, and have a great time.
I mean, the Xbox One will cost me like 300 quid?
You could probably get an Xbox One for like 100 quid now.
No
way.
No way.
Second hand, I bet. I bet there's
200.
I bet there's some guy selling one online. You'd be like, I'll give you 100 for that, and he'd be like, fucking fine.
So 200 quid, but I'm practically making money with the Rare Replay because that's so cheap. So I guess it kind of balances out to neutral-ish.
Yeah.
Xbox One's a terrible console.
How good is the Xbox One controller compared to the 360 controller?
It's fine. It's comparable. I like the controller. Like, I think Xbox have done really great controllers.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
But then, like, how about the DualShock 4 then, compared to it?
That's also lovely. Like, I honestly, between the 360 and DualShock 4, I couldn't choose.
I think the DualShock 4 is my favorite controller.
Same. Its screenshot button kind of makes it, to be honest.
I just like that big fat middle button. And how, like, sometimes it's one big button, or sometimes it's a left and a right button.
Yeah, it's so good. I hope they never remove that for PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Because people talk about, what will they take away from that controller? And everyone's like, touchpad. It's like, don't ever get rid of the touchpad. I love it.
Yeah.
Guys, I played The Glass Staircase.
I saw.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So this is the game that's meant to look like a PlayStation 2 game.
They say a PS2 game. I would say this is like in between PS1 and PS2.
Alright.
This game's cool, and a lot of it is like the aesthetic. It's like, it is old school survival horror, like kind of very specific camera angles. Like you're kind of the setup for it is like you are a little girl in like a house, and there's a bunch of other little girls, and they're all wearing the same dress as you. You get told, a speaker comes on and it tells you to take your medicine. So you take your medicine, and then you go downstairs and spooky shit happens. And that happens a bunch of times, and the little girls don't meet very nice ends. And I enjoyed it for the most part. The atmosphere is really great. There is something just genuinely creepy about that lo-fi 3D look. And the music in it is really, really good, and like the sound design is really, like, you pick up an item, and then like off in the distance you start to hear like footsteps or like a kind of booming noise, and you're like, oh fuck, something's coming. And that kind of stuff was really good. There was a really great boss fight in it, and all you're fighting is a naked woman in a room running at you with a knife over and over and over. But what makes it so scary is she can run faster than you, but she's not always running at you. Sometimes she just stands still. And she only becomes activated when you walk into her screen. So there's all these, it's pre-rendered backgrounds kind of deal. So there's all these different like parts. So one camera shot might just be like at a corner and you can't see her, so you don't know where she is. but she's not going to come at you yet until you activate her, and then you walk into another camera shot, there she is, and then she starts chasing you. And it was really fucking scary. I did it on stream, and it was like really, really stressful because it was a really hard boss fight. There were other things with the game that I thought maybe weren't that well considered. I didn't find it was always super obvious what to do next, which was difficult. But a real problem was sometimes when, like, you know, you walk into a new camera shot, your character isn't in the new camera shot. They're still like outside the shot. And so you don't know what you have to press to make them come in. It's very difficult to orientate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you could press down on your analog and go back into the other screen.
And all of a sudden you're in the screen you just left. And that happened way more times than I think it should have. And that was really frustrating. This thing is like...
So the movement just doesn't flow screen to screen.
It's tank controls, but you don't always know... Like, you'll just be holding up and you'll run into the next screen, and then all of a sudden you're still holding up, but your character isn't appearing in the new screen. And then you're like... Because they're like maybe caught on a piece of geometry or something, and you just... That's really frustrating. But this game was made by, I think, one guy or girl, I'm not sure, called Puppet Combo. And Puppet Combo have done a bunch of horror games. And I didn't love this game, but I thought it was interesting enough that I'd love to see some of their other stuff and see what they've done, because it was really cool. It's available on itch.io. It's like $5. If you're a fan of old school survival horror, like this will probably do it for you, because it does totally... And it did scare me as well. Like there were like a few points that kind of, like, you know, made me jump or just like put me on edge with a really good atmosphere. So it is totally worth the price of admission. It's a cool game. Niamh, back to Tomb Raider.
Yes, I went back to Tomb Raider 2013.
You're playing an old game?
Yeah, Sekiro was making me feel sad, so I needed something that would make me feel good.
That's why I'm playing Banjo-Kazooie.
So I picked Tomb Raider Reboot 2013 because it was on sale for $5.99, and this is the definitive edition.
Niamh, sorry, just so I'm clear, this is the Tomb Raider where they remade the first game?
No, this is the first of the Survivor trilogy. So
the
Reboot,
ones that are
Rise, and Shadow.
Yeah. The ones that are responsive to the Uncharted games.
Wow, we've been in this cycle of games for a while.
Yeah, like
there's three of them
this
now.
trilogy of the Survivor, it's probably ended. I don't know if they'll do any more of it, to be honest. I don't think it was well received. So this is the first one in it. It was originally a 360 game, and this is the definitive edition that came out for PS4, and they have PS4'd it to shit. So that means they've used every single gimmick that the PS4 can offer with the remote. So the speaker in the controller is constantly going. Lara will read out a description. I love it. Like, people hate it. I think it's fucking great.
I like it.
So she'll read out a description of, like, you know, like a hidden item, or like it will be like a letter that someone's reading out, and it'll come out from the TV speaker and the controller speaker. So you have this like double audio that does not work, but I love. When you want to light a torch, you can swipe up on the touchpad, and to extinguish your torch, you swipe down. And it has voice commands, so if you want your shotgun, you say shotgun. And it's so good, because it's terrible. Like, I just love that it's there. I don't use it that much, but when I do, it's really, really fun. Reboot, the first game in the Survivor trilogy, I think between that and Shadow, they're my favorites for different reasons. The reason I like Reboot is it's the one with the story. Like, it's the only one that has a genuine narrative, really, that kind of goes from, you know, a 3-act structure, kind of. But it's been really fun to play, and it kind of made me realize two things about that game. Like, first thing, this was the game they were punishing as, like, Lara's a survivor. This is how she becomes the Tomb Raider, whatever the fuck that means. And
she raids a tomb.
So, no, you'd think so, but no, there's very few tombs in this game.
No, there's not.
So the start of this game, this is the game where they brutalize her to crap. So this is the game that opens up very close to a survival horror. There is dead bodies everywhere. There's candles. There's sheep skulls. She is kidnapped. She is tied up. She has to set herself on fire to untie herself.
Did that get lesser with the following games? Or?
They always kept the brutal death sequences, which have been in it since the very first games, but like the more realistic it got, the more out of place it always seemed. But Reboot, it went hard on them in a way that I think they were like, if we're not going to sexualize Lara, we're going to brutalize Lara. And I think that's what they did. That's a grim scale they're working on. Yeah, it's really grim, and like
it's a very unnecessarily edgy game.
Yeah, but this is what I noticed. Only at the start, it's the first hour to 2 hours that is extremely brutal. So like, she sets herself on fire and she falls down a fucking hole. She lands on some rebar that she has to pull out of herself. There's a sexual assault QTE that ends with her shooting a guy in the dick and then killing him. And I think it was just like, oh, like I remember when the trailers came out, there's a big deal of her with a bow and arrow, because this is around the time of
Hunger Games.
So that was like the acceptable weapon for a woman. And she kills a deer.
Their long feminine arms can control the flow of the arrow.
And she kills a deer and to eat the food, and it's kind of like, oh no, she killed a deer. Replaying that game, that moment is really played down, and this kind of has like janky 360 physics, so the deer just fucking catapults kind of a little bit. It's like,
do you remember all the marketing with that at the beginning? Yeah. And they were like, we've left a little bit of baby fat on her face so that you can like, you feel like you want to protect her more.
Oh, that was such a creepy interview.
It was so fucking weird. It really is, but it plays so weird. So like, you kill the deer and like then it cuts scenes into that and you're like, okay, cool, she's become the Tomb Raider. No, not yet. So then she like meets violent men who are trying to kill her and all her friends. But that isn't enough for the game to justify her fighting back. It needs to bring in the sexual assault element. And then you have the QTE moment where she finally kills a guy and you're like, okay, cool, she's the Tomb Raider now. And that's kind of the moment that sets her up as she's allowed to kill these people. And it's just like, Nathan Drake never had to go through a sexual assault scene to give him justification to wisecrack then shoot someone. Lara isn't wisecracking. She's like trying to save herself and everyone she knows. And that's why she's like fighting back. Like, she's not, you know, Nathan Drake's just like, oh no, I'm just here stealing shit.
Yeah, for her it's always this weird visceral, exhaustive skirmish where you're not sure who's going to come out on top.
And like, after about 2 hours, that brutality kind of stops. It really peters out. And then it goes into like a fun action shooter adventure game.
Yeah.
And it has like real elements where the map nearly feels like Dark Souls Bloodborne-esque, where you go to one area, you see things that you can't access, kind of like, you know, just like a platformer or something. But then later on, you'll be at the upper segment of that area, so now you've all the tools to kind of go back down, and you're kind of opening different sections to go through the world, and there's collectibles to make you go and travel through it, and it's all very compact. The map seems big, but very manageable in a nice way, which is something I think Rise and then especially Shadow, like Shadow had great climbing, but the map was so fucking big that you're like, it was hard to traverse. Like, I didn't feel I had any knowledge of where anything was on that map, but with Reboot you kind of know where things are. This has some of the funnest puzzles and funnest moments in it as well, like just kind of, it has that real like, this is real life, and then you get that switch into, oh wait, the fantasy element, and then a giant samurai warrior comes out and starts clubbing everyone to death, and you're like, oh cool, we'll deal with this now.
I really like the bit where you're in the cave and you see that. I think it's, I'm not sure if it's the first or second time, but there's a big army of the cultists.
Yeah.
But you're up high and you're just watching like 200 characters go by. I love that kind of, that scale of like, they can't see you, and it like, it's clearly a scripted event and they're not going to, but just like leading you through that without it being a cutscene is such a cool sequence.
Scripted events, like, again, this game is 2013. Those scripted events hold up. They are so good. Like, they're really, like, edge of your seat, like, oh shit, I'm gonna try and keep Lara alive kind of moments. And it's been a joy to play. It's been really fun. I love the shotgun in that game. Again, that physics system, it sends people flying, you know.
Ragdoll for fucking miles.
Those Dead Rising 1 zombies react so good to a shotgun because they kind of cartwheel through the air.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. I don't think they ever captured the combat being as fun. Like, it always got tighter in the games that progressed, but it was never as fun as it is in Reboot. That game goes for about €5 on sale, and I think it's just cheap in general. If you haven't played it, I really think you should give it a go. If anything I said sounded interesting, because it's a lot of fun. Like, it really is. When it's good, it's very good. As a puzzle game and as a action shooter.
Sounds good. I will remain mildly interested in that series.
That's all I ever expect from you.
I would, if I were, excuse me, if I were to give that a go though, is that the game I play?
Yeah.
Like,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so too.
We'll see. We shall see. Brian.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little about Yoshi's Crafted World?
Fuck yeah. Guys, I thought Sekiro was hard. This little green dinosaur, he sees some shit. You gotta fight a bunch of cardboard monsters in this game. I played and beat Yoshi's Crafted World.
Okay.
And
I've been very curious about how this has gone down.
After an incredibly disappointing demo in which you play a first level.
Yeah, you were down. Like, you were so down on that demo. I'm amazed you bought the game.
You said it was for stupid babies, not just babies, stupid babies.
Yeah, like the dumb ones.
Okay. So I played through that first level again, and I'm like, this is so shit. There's no fucking pitfalls. Like, you can't die in this game. You start playing a bit more. You have to, like, make decisions on the spot and actually platform from spot to spot. And that game kind of shows its fangs a little bit, especially in the last act.
Really?
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I guess to start from the beginning, this is a Yoshi platforming game in the vein of the other Yoshi platforming games. This game's gimmick is that it's in a crafted world rather than a yarn felt world that was the previous game. This game, Yoshi is made out of felt, but all the materials in the game are arts and crafts materials. So that's like straws, cardboard, glue, metal cans, stuff like that. So like there's like lava levels, but the lava is red paint. Like, they have to keep everything on point to the theme of arts and crafts.
That sounds deadly.
It's made using the Unreal Engine 4, which is really cool because you don't really see a lot of Japanese games made, or even a Nintendo game being made in a different game engine from the West.
Yeah.
And this is made by Goodfeel, who are a second-party developer for Nintendo that make all the kind of homemade-looking Nintendo games. So that would be all the previous Yoshi games, as well as that hand-drawn Wario game that came out like a decade ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I always wanted to play that. I never did.
It's good.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. There's some bad game flow to it, but
right.
It looks amazing. And like this game, this is one of the best looking games I've ever played. I've played it handheld and on TV. If you play it handheld, your Switch sounds like a fucking hairdryer. It is just like, it is processing a lot of shit in there. But the game is so fucking cute and charming, and it's won me over.
Sounds like it got you, Brian.
Yeah, especially in the last act. Like, it's cool because like each level is its own thing. Like, there's a killer clown level.
What?
Where like you're going through a bunch of spooky houses, but then there's like toys of killer clowns with axes that chase after you, but they're scared of spotlights. So it's kind of like the stop and go station level of Donkey Kong.
Killer clowns with axes.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you guys ever see that movie Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
Yeah.
No.
I like that movie.
Okay, that's good. I don't.
It's as good as Gremlins.
Jesus Christ, that's not.
I don't think that, but I just wanted to hurt Brian.
That's a terrible
I'm
thing
sorry.
to say.
No, I'm sorry, everybody.
There's a level where like you have to help build a bunch of pine cones and turned them into a family of owls made out of pine cones. And like that's so like it's really based on arts and crafts. And there's another one where you're like in someone's back garden and it's flooded and you have to navigate it. But then like the bosses, like I think there's a recurring boss called Bert the Bashful, who's this big guy wearing pants.
Bert the Bashful.
So this time he's a inflatable ball. And so his weak spot is the place where you blow up the inflatable ball, but it's got a big red patch on it. And his fight's amazing because like it's cool how the cutscenes are done because they're done at a really really low frame rate, so it looks like stop motion. But then the gameplay is a smooth 60 frames per second because it has to be, otherwise it'd be unplayable. But it's just really really nice to see it side by side when they introduce the characters. And it's the same thing again. It's baby Bowser and Kamek because all the Yoshi games are prequels before Mario, so Bowser is a little kid in it.
I'm very okay with Baby Bowser, but I'm not a fan of Bowser Jr.
Yeah, even though they're literally the exact same design, just one has a bib.
They're different in soul.
Baby Bowser is fucking brilliant.
Baby Bowser gets shit done. Bowser Jr. just fucks around.
Yeah. I have one big complaint about the game.
Okay, hit us.
Actually, no, sorry. One other thing I do like about the game is that some of the levels aren't platforming, but rather they're puzzle-based. So you have to solve stuff in the foreground and background, and you actually have to stop for a second and like plan 1 or 2 steps ahead, which is cool because you don't really get that in platformers anymore. The one thing I really really dislike about this game, and it's such fucking bullshit, there are 5 songs in the entire game. So you'll play through a world, every level has the exact same song, and there's one song in particular, it's used in over 50% of the levels.
Oh my god.
And I think this is such horseshit because Yoshi's Woolly World has a full OST. Every single level in that game has its own song, and they're all amazing.
That's really unusual for Nintendo.
Yeah, like usually with Nintendo games, especially now, they have a fucking full-on orchestra and multiple composers, and just they really, really go the extra mile with with their music. Because I think especially with video games, like because if you're watching something that's audio visual, or it's going to be 50% of it is the sound, and the sound in this game is so underwhelming. Like the music is reused constantly, and the music is fine. It's just it's repetitive. It's like a 1-minute loop, and you're going to hear it all the time, and it's like fucking whistling ukulele music. Like really, it's charming, but it's fucking not at the same time. But then Yoshi's like sound effects and his grunts and his jump noises, those noises, they're the exact same sound files from 20 years ago. From like Yoshi's story. I don't think they've ever re-recorded those. I think they need to re-record that shit. That's
a shame because it sounded like everything else about this sounds so enjoyable.
The visuals are 100% there. The audio is absolutely not.
That sucks.
For a full price game as well, that's really disappointing.
This game is the same price as Sekiro.
Speaking of which, guys, we've all been playing Sekiro.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to take the temperature. How are we feeling about this game?
I'm really, really enjoying it, but I'm probably going to stop playing it soon.
Gonna drop it?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I love it. I've had my fill of it.
Okay. But you love it, because that's a very different position than you were in last time.
No, I really, really respect and appreciate this game. I think it's great.
So, what happens? Like, what clicked with you? Or
I fought more bosses that I like the designs of. I've also fought more bosses that I do not like the designs of.
I don't know how far you are, Brian, but I would really try and get to the Guardian Ape.
Oh, I'm fighting him right now.
Oh, okay, well then you're good.
Yeah, I love the Guardian Ape. He's my favorite thing this year in a video game.
Yeah, I think he might be my favorite boss in a Soulsborne game.
Like, why the fuck is like he moves like a fucking ape? Yeah. And did he get to phase 2? And you're what?
No, we can't do that.
We can't do it. He's fucking weird.
Niamh, how are you getting on with Sekiro?
Good. Last time we were talking about it, I think we had it like we were recording like 2 days after its release date, so we hadn't spent a lot of time
Our
with
impressions were fresh.
They were like super fresh. I am going to try and go as far as I can go with this game. I don't know how far that is. It is a struggle, like very much so, but I'm enjoying it, like in the sense that I love seeing new places. I love seeing new designs. I'm enjoying that story. There's just so many roadblocks, and it's like I spend so long on each one. I looked up the kind of projected time to beat Sekiro, and it's like 26 hours.
Fuck off. No way.
It's more like 60, I'd say.
Yeah, I think I spent like 5 hours on Lady Butterfly just on her own before I beat her. And like just a whole day being like, fuck this game, I'm so crap at it. And like my girlfriend is like, just play something else. And like I'm like, no. Or I'll try play something else and I'll just be annoyed because like I know I'm playing it because I'm not being able to do Sekiro. So it's been
Niamh, it will
rough.
take most players between 35 and 70 hours to finish Sekiro.
Thanks, that's way better than howlongtobeat.com, because that was a total lie. And like I saw a video of some guy running it in like an hour and 8 minutes, and I was like, you're not fucking human at that stage.
They're nuts.
It's like I really, really like it. I'm still of the position of I don't know if I'm good enough to ever see all of it, but I'll try.
I mean, I think that is really just a question of how much time do you want to put into it. Because if you've beaten Lady Butterfly, like, you can beat the rest of the game.
I think the boss in it where it's like, if you can't beat this boss, then it's okay, is Genichiro Ashina. Because he's kind of like, he's everything that game teaches you mechanically in a boss fight.
Someone told me that that Genichiro is like Father Gascoigne, and I'm like, fuck that. It took me like nearly 20 hours to get to the Gascoigne of the game.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Can I tell you guys something?
Yeah.
I beat Genichiro on my second try.
How?
Because I'm a hardcore capital G gamer man.
So you know all your parries.
Yep.
I do really like the other phase that he has.
Okay. I'm like, I did beat him on my second try, but I think I took a completely ass backwards route through this game, and I think I just had so much posture and attack when I got to him. Like, I think that's how I did it, rather than actually having skill, because other bosses of this game have made me fucking miserable.
Yeah, I fought some bosses and I get them on my first go. Like, I beat Corrupted Monk on my first go.
You see...
And the same with Orin.
Yeah, I think we took completely opposite routes. And so when I was fighting Orin, I did not have the attack or stamina. Like, she would just drain my whole posture bar and just fuck me up. And I had to parry everything perfectly or she'd literally kill me. But then when I went to fight, and even Lady Butterfly, like, I massacred Lady Butterfly on like my third try or something because I had heard how hard she was, and I was like, oh, I'm going to leave her till later. But people like Orin and Corrupted Monk, it took me ages to beat them because I didn't have that stat advantage. So I think a certain part of Sekiro is finding the bosses that are easiest to beat, beating them, and taking their... like using them to buff your stats to fight the harder bosses. Like, one of the reasons I genuinely think one of the reasons people are talking about Lady Butterfly like she's such a nightmare is because you beat excuse me, you beat the drunk guy, what's his name?
Jozu.
Jozu the drunkard. You beat him, and like at the start of the game, like at the point you run into him, you barely have enough stats to beat him, for most people anyway. And then Lady Butterfly is right behind him, and she is so much stronger than he is, like just on a pure stat basis, that most people try and go from Jinzo to Lady Butterfly, and that's why it's such a struggle. But for me, I beat Jinzo, I went all around the world, I beat so many other bosses, and then I beat Lady Butterfly. And like, I beat the Corrupted Monk before I beat Lady Butterfly.
That's nuts.
And then the Corrupted Monk was really difficult. Lady Butterfly, I just steamrolled her. And same with Kenshiro.
I do really like that as soon as you get to Ashina Castle, you don't have to go to the top of that castle if you don't want to. There's so many other paths you can go down. I missed, you know, because you know the way there's like a grapple point in one of the ceilings. Yeah, there's just one.
I completely missed that, and I went all over the rest of the world just fighting the other bosses.
it's super interesting the way it does that, because you can ram your head against something and then I'll just go a different path, and it's like a spider web where at each kind of point of it there's like a mini boss before you can progress into the next section of the spider web. But you can go around and fight like 8 mini bosses before you ever get to the progression part of it.
And that's what I did, and I beat Genshiro and Lady Butterfly in the same sitting.
That's nuts.
Yeah, like they weren't a problem for me at all. But Orin, like, you one-shotted Orin, Brian?
Yeah.
She ruined multiple evenings on me.
I think I got lucky with Orin. I think I cheesed her by accident.
Did you knock her out of her?
I kind of. She was still attacking me, but she couldn't see where I was.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. But then Corrupted Monk, I was like, oh, I'm just going to fight this guy like a Dark Souls boss. And I just kept my distance and chipped away at him. And it was...
He has big, slow, heavy hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just pace yourself away from him.
I think there was... Yeah, I didn't know it was a lady. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Her.
But same with the Snake Eyes.
Have you fought both Snake Eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fine.
Oh, one of them gave me a real headache for a long time. And it was because the path to them was such a pain. Because I was in the gun fort going back out to that Snake Eyes over and over. And oh god, she destroyed me.
That's where I'm at now. I'm hanging out in the Sunken Valley with Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
Kind of like that they look like Tusken Raiders from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
I thought what they were going for was the lepers from Princess Mononoke.
That's probably more likely,
Yeah,
but
yeah, 'cause
Star Wars is based on a lot. Like he referenced a lot of Japan for those prequels.
He sure did, didn't he?
Did you fight the centipedes at all?
Yep.
Fuck those.
They're actually super easy.
They're actually like...
You just parry.
I had the exact reaction you did, Brian, where like you fight them like 2 or 3 times and you're like, well, these are impossible. Like, these are literally impossible. And then you're like, oh, wait, I just need to parry their combo like 3 times.
They're yeah, like to me they're just a rhythm game.
Yeah.
There's there's one that I'm on and he has loads of ads and it's trying to get rid of all the smaller little centipede dudes.
Yeah.
Is that in
him.
the temple?
Yeah.
A Mount Senpu. Or sorry, Mount Congo Senpu Temple.
Yeah.
That's the best fucking location in the game.
Yeah, I
That
really
looks
like
amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. It kind of reminds me a bit of what they did with oh fuck, I'm completely blanking on it. But there's a location in Dark Souls 1 where it's like everything is just like rotting and poisonous, and then you go like right down this awful village, and then when you get to the very bottom it's just a giant pool of sludge, and you find like a spider witch nested there because all like the corruption's coming from her. It's kind of the same deal, and I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Although I fucking hate the boss of that location.
The Falling Screen Monkeys.
They suck. Great idea.
How do you get to them? Because I'm in the place
You
now.
have to beat Genshiro first.
to
no wonder.
to get a special item to activate it.
Because
yeah.
I can't open the door that gets...
Yeah.
Like, I'm at the top of that temple where all the stupid, like, horrible centipede monks are.
Oh, they're so awful.
You can't do anything there until you beat Genichiro.
Okay, cool.
I love this game. Really love it. I got to see how it kind of like. I got to see how it ends, and I got to see what like the last couple of bosses are like. But this is closing in on like my second favorite Souls game, or like FromSoft game.
What's your first?
Dark Souls 1.
How do you guys feel about the repeated mini bosses?
Really bad.
I think the second time I fought Jozu the drunkard, but he was blue instead, and he was called like Toshiro the
glutton.
The glutton. I was like, that's actually really, really shitty.
Yeah, because like even when they did it the other times, like with Snake Eyes, I think it's cool the idea that there's like a pair of sharpshooting sisters walking around. That's sick. But with this time, it was like same facial features, same facial hair, just same person.
They just changed the skin tone.
They're just dark aeons.
And I would really have rathered no boss in that case.
Yeah. That really, really bothers me. The other big criticism I have of it is that you can jump around and explore and find items. A lot of the items are useless. Or
I've literally never picked up an item and been like, yes.
I've stored so many of them.
Yeah.
I don't know when to use them. Like
I'm the exact same.
I don't know when they help.
And see, the thing is that like with Dark Souls or Bloodborne, these would be weapons, or like certain other things, like sometimes they're upgrades to your Shinobi prosthetic, and they're good. But
I
usually buy those more than anything.
I find myself using the same Shinobi prosthetics, or like I always have the firecracker equipped, and then if I meet an ogre, I'll put some fire on. But I've met like 2 ogres.
You know the samurai before you go to Genichiro that you fight, that mini boss?
Yeah.
I beat him purely because I had got the sword prosthetic
the poison sword.
puts poison on him.
Yeah.
So like I use the poison sword a lot, and I use the axe a lot.
Really?
Yeah, the armored warrior I got through with the axe.
I fought one of the snake eyes because she walked out into the poison and she just stood there, and I just waited it out.
That's cool. Okay, yeah.
Poison is so fucking over. It's so OP.
Yeah.
So the only like I guess item I've used is the confetti for terror.
Yeah.
Because you need to use that. The other ones, like, I could, use my strength or my vitality or, like, my posture bonus. But, I mean, I might die that fight as much as I would have died without it, you know what I mean?
Like
I never use the sugar because I'm like, I'll just save it for, like, an important fight. And then when I get to the important fight, I'll use it once and I'll be like, oh, I wasted it.
But once you get to the monk area, they're dropping sugar left, right, and centre.
Yeah, they are. Those monks are fucking junkies. Have you used Fod Vilehand?
No.
I don't know if I have.
Is that the little man in the barrel?
No.
Okay, thank God.
No, he's nice.
Yeah, I was just worried he mightn't be nice. He might be making like a fish scale armor to destroy me with later.
Who's Vilehand?
Vilehand he comes later, and it's a really weird boss fight because there's 2 ways you can enter the room. If you enter one way, he's no problem at all. If you enter another, he is the most frustrating fucking boss in the game that I've played so far.
So you can get the jump on him one way and...
Not him, his assistant.
Oh.
Yeah. One way it's like a 2-on-1 fight, and it's just... even with the 2-on-1 fight, I managed to kill his assistant, which is still really hard, but I'd never had enough stealth to beat him, and I was like, this feels nearly impossible. And so I looked it up, and everyone's like, yeah, you go in this other way, and then you stealth kill his assistant, and you just fight him normal.
Yeah, I'm curious about this fight now. The one I thought was weird is the dude on the fucking flute, and he's got his mist, and he's summoning ghosts.
Oh, down underground?
Yeah.
With the ghost heads?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's one of the headless, isn't he?
No.
Is he not?
He's just this weird yokai on a flute inside a building, and he's playing away, and you have to kind of sneak your way in there, and like he doesn't put up a fight at all. You just kill him.
As long as you use your confetti,
in the Mist Village place.
Yeah,
I was ready for a fight, and I just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, like he can hit you back, but it doesn't do him that much damage.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's just so fucking weird.
There's like these little old ladies as well who are just walking around, and it's like, I don't know if I should kill you or if I want to kill you, but I presume the corrupted monk is one of them.
Who I really like when you get to the top of Ashina Castle and there's the hook ninja dudes, but then one of them is waiting up above in a kite and he starts screeching and flies down and like cannonballs you. I love that guy so much.
I've seen that happen so many times on Twitter that I knew when I got to that area to just like not let him hit me.
But then you get to the top of Ashina Castle, and that's kind of like what one of the core fights of the game is against Genichiro, and I found his fight very, very difficult. I did get him eventually, but he was fucking tough.
See, I think Orin and Corrupted Monk was when I was fighting Genichiro for you, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's why we had such a difference.
Where is Orin?
Orin is in, it's a Mitu village or something.
Mibu village.
Mibu village, yeah. Fucked up. A really cool area, actually.
Yeah, it's cool. Like for me, it was just I couldn't like you know how they have their fatal blows, and there's a stab, a vertical slice, or a sweep, but they're all marked by a red kanji.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
That's cool, but you actually need to study their animation rather than the red kanji tell, because the red kanji tell is kind of useless.
It's like it lets you know something is coming that you can't parry.
Yeah,
but like I honestly find
you still have to learn the animation.
The music note that they play with it, that fuck, like
oh no, really?
So like yeah, and like the kanji comes up, and like I can barely read the animation when it happens because I'm like on edge because it's happening.
I actually kind of wish that wasn't in, or if it was in, they were color coded to 3 different colors, one for the vertical or the sweep or the thrust.
Yeah,
because at least then you could come up with a strategy. Because I find you need to just study you are just finding that character a bunch of different times, learning their animation movements and learning which wind up is which, and using that as your telegraph rather than.
I'm okay with that though. I kind of like that. Like I like being like, oh shit, his spear is down by his side, so if the kanji comes up, he's gonna do this. Like I like having to learn that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
I like learning.
I mean,
some
the
fights.
Conversation like about like difficulty modes in Sekiro has just been going hard and
wow,
fast.
Yeah, that really blew up.
And like, I think there's like stuff that could you wouldn't have to tweak that much with the game, but even like what Brian was saying with the color coding of those attacks or something, it's not a huge change, but it would take. You could do it by eye rather than also that and reading like. It would add a little bit more, I guess, niceness to the game in a little way when it comes to reading those attacks.
I think I wouldn't like it if that was in there, but I'd be cool with it being in like a lower difficulty mode. Because I really like the process of learning. Because like
I don't. See, that's the thing. Like I'm fighting Guardian Ape, and I haven't beaten Guardian Ape yet, and I'm enjoying the animation stuff. But I know there's going to be boss fights, like with Genichiro, I didn't enjoy the animation at the end. And I think that's why I'm going to stop playing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. Because like with the difficulty stuff, like I generally like games like this. I like games that are kind of punishing. I don't really consider Sekiro, for me anyway, and I think this is just my specific way of like playing games, I don't find Sekiro any more difficult than I found any of the Souls of Bloodborne. In fact, I think I found Bloodborne more difficult than this.
But with Bloodborne, you can make your attacks hit more. You can make your vitality like you can give yourself a larger HP pool. Which, like, if you were adding,
there's options to like level up and stuff.
Yeah, like yeah. So you are, the more time you spend on it, making it easier. You know,
yeah,
with Sekiro,
true.
There isn't really that.
But I guess options. Like for me personally, no boss in Sekiro has given me like the headache that like Blood-Starved Beast gave me so far. But then like a lot of that is Sekiro takes a lot of its mechanics from kind of fighting games, so I would probably be more comfortable with a lot of that stuff. But it's tricky with like kind of, you know, the kind of discussion over difficulty. I really don't think that like an easy mode would make the game any worse, and it does get tricky when it's like, well, what about the resources to make an easy mode? Like, where do they come from and all that kind of stuff? But
just play it on PC and mod it.
Well, yeah, like, you know, I think I was reading a thing where on Cheat Engine you can actually change the time of the parries, so like you can give yourself more of a parry window, and I think something like that would be really, really good for people who just either don't have the time or don't want to.
Yeah, like for me, I just like 1 or 2 more invincibility frames on roll, because you don't get that much.
Do you rely on roll a lot in that game, Brian?
For certain fights I do,
because it's not good.
For Genichiro, I couldn't. I didn't enjoy parrying all his attacks, so I would roll.
Yeah.
Corrupted Monk, I roll through all. I roll and dodge all his attacks.
Yeah,
I didn't parry him once or her once.
I think like parrying is kind of a necessity.
It is,
because like towards the start of the game, I was rolling a lot, and it was just constantly getting me killed. And once it was actually the centipede that made me be like, oh, parries.
Yeah, no, like he is the rhythm game in that game.
And I've been having a much better time with it since. There's actually one boss, Ashina of the Seven Spears of Ashina.
Yeah,
I loved that boss fight. or well, mini boss. That was the one that made the kind of, I guess, made the game's mechanics click with me.
It was just a boss.
Yeah, I was just like, I hate you like I hate everyone else.
I think I just kind of, I came to him at the point where I was starting to understand the game, and he was the one who made me force me to learn. I have to jump at his sweeps. I have to Mirai counter his stabs. I have to deflect all his normal stuff, and I just thought he had a really good balance for all that stuff. Yeah, I like Sekiro a lot. I think it's super fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep playing it for a bit longer.
I'll keep going as long as I can with it. I know there will be a block. I don't know who it is or what it is. I don't think it will be Genichiro. I think I can probably beat him.
You can.
But
if Genichiro's too tough, go off and fight some other stuff.
Yeah.
That's a little song I've constructed just for you.
We'll see.
I really want you to get to Guardian Ape because I want to see your Guardian Ape fan art.
I know, it's so. I love how it looks. I like drawing stuff from the game.
He's
just
a very
like with
special
Bloodborne.
guy.
Because one of your early criticisms for the game was like, I don't want to draw these characters, and then I saw Lady Butterfly show up, and I was like, on your timeline, I was like, yeah.
I think Bloodborne just starts out so strong, like from the get-go.
Bloodborne
visually.
is a more striking game, looking game, absolutely. And I do like how Sekiro looks, but Bloodborne is fucking amazing.
Sekiro gets like more beautiful as it goes, but in its starting area, it's like literally ugly men in like
dirty
armor and underwear armor, and you're just like, oh fuck, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will keep updated as we go on with Sekiro. And I think that's going to take us into Quicktime Events. Okay, first item on the docket. We got... Brian, what do we got?
New game from Heart Machine, Solar Ash Kingdom, and a Hyperlight Drifter cartoon.
I am really pumped about a Hyperlight Drifter cartoon.
Yeah.
I like that world a lot. I like those characters a lot, even though they only speak in like little pictures.
Yeah, I hope there's no dialogue. I hope it's very atmospheric. I hope it's short and simple, and you fill in the gaps in your mind.
Yeah, like there's a bit where you go to a temple in that game, and there's a bunch of monks, like I think frog monks, just being massacred by these fucking weird samurai guys.
Yeah, like you showed up half an hour too late for what happened.
Yeah, and I want to know about stuff like that. I never dove into the lore of that game like I would love to, because I know there's a kind of scene for it. But yeah, it looks great. Solar Ash Kingdom. They've released like a concept trailer for that, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not that into the look of it. It's not pixel art anymore. It's like 3D, but in a way that it kind of just, I guess, looks like a lot of other 3D stuff.
Yeah, and it looks like it plays like a Jet Set Radio game where you're kind of skating along a big sandbox environment.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, it's like abstract geometric 3D.
Yeah, it's the kind of look I feel like I've seen before, whereas like it doesn't look bad, but then like I remember the first time I saw Hyperlight Drifter, I was like, what the shit is this? And I don't have that feeling. But look, it's early days. Hopefully it'll be good. And that's a really talented studio. So we shall see. Okay. We're going to leave the Jason Schreier Anthem story, I think, maybe till the end.
Sure.
Yeah. Borderlands 3 announced, featuring Randy Pitchford. Niamh, you've been a pretty vocal proponent of Randy Pitchford for a while now. How did it feel seeing your favourite dev live on stage?
Have I? So Randy Pitchford, CEO of Gearbox, and who was, you may remember from a few weeks ago, we talked about a story where there was a slight controversy with Randy and a misplaced USB key at a medieval times featuring some company secrets,
accusations
and some
of
explicit magic
parties.
Yeah, so that's like ignoring the hilarious like USB key of magic. There was also the allegation of the peacock parties, which was like weird sex parties that might involve stripping in front of underage people. Was that it? Something close to that?
Some kind of nightmare like that, yes.
Yeah, pretty much. And that is still under investigation. Anyway, they put him on a stage to announce Borderlands 3, the most and very anticipated game after the extreme success of 1 and 2. People really like those games.
People really, really like those games.
So Randy was on stage, which is a questionable choice at PAX East.
I am sure there must be at least one other enthusiastic, charismatic person from Gearbox that could have got on stage, because the timing's weird for this. The
timing's weird, and it was honestly one of the most painful reveals I've ever watched.
Oh, did you watch the whole thing?
I watched the whole thing, and I couldn't get over it. Like,
how is the magic?
That's it. Like, there's all this fucking jokes and like controversy over him and this magic on his USB key, and the magic is porn. And he comes on stage at the reveal that people are waiting for. Like, people are really waiting to see this trailer for the game. And he does like 15 minutes of magic.
I do find though, like, if you're kind of a small, pathetic person and you kind of have like an audience sort of trapped, that's your kind of opportunity to just do whatever you want, like talk about wrestling for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that, to be honest. It's just like, it felt like him tongue-in-cheek being like, oh, I know you know the stories. And it's like, dude, you're still under investigation. Like, it's so weird. And he did a card magic trick where he had 2 boxed packets of cards that he gave to people he pulled up from the crowd. And God love the poor girl, her face. She was cycling through all those emotions of fear, confusion, and kind of mild disgust. But like, the guy had to write his name on a card. It was shuffled into the deck. She had a closed, sealed box of cards. Will his card throw up? That was the magic trick. And Randy asked her to pick a number between 1 and, is it 50 cards in a deck, or is it 52?
52.
And she picks 47, and he goes, okay, well, you know, I have to count 47. Do you want to pick a different number? And she's like, no.
Fair play.
So, like, he counts out 47, and he has to do it, like, twice. Anyway, he does his magic, and he has, like, his little fold-out magician's table and a down-facing camera. Like, this was, like, extremely planned. And then after, like, 15 to 20 minutes of this, he calls out... They play first a trailer for the kind of collected edition of Borderlands, and the frame rate's bad, like super, super bad, and it's, you know, it's embarrassing.
They were trying to play an uncompressed 4K file for the release, and it's like, I don't know how, I can't imagine a video producer would ever be like, this is a good idea.
Mm-hmm. After that, he wheels out the devs who've been working on this game for so long, and he gets them to kind of say their bit on stage, and you're like, oh cool, this is all the people, like, you know, character designers, level designers, whatever. And it was really nice to see them on stage, and you're like, I hope to God you're okay. Because then they do the announcement trailer for Borderlands 3, and the same thing happens to that trailer. It is stuttering, and this is it. This is the trailer people want to see, and it's fucking not playing properly. And they let it play in its like entirety, stuttering. And then afterwards he's like, oh God, we need to play it again. And he kind of needs to buy for time, so he kind of gets the devs back again and is kind of like, fucking do something, like, you know, talk. Or he's like making these people who are like not meant to be on stage and are kind of awkward kind of fill time. And he's awkwardly filling time. He's dunking on PAX's like equipment.
Yeah, and that's kind of when the crowd sort of turned on him.
Yeah, it was just like, it was weird. He was sweating.
So sweaty.
They played it again, stuttering again. Like, it was so awkward and painful. There's seemingly this like live action head that speaks to you in Borderlands, and they had the woman who plays that on, and there was a little segment where her head was looking at you from like a straight on perspective, and he kept calling her his angel, and that was really awkward and weird.
God, Randy.
And I was like, stop calling this adult woman your angel. Like, I don't care if this is a reference to Borderlands, it's not playing well.
Yeah.
So it was awkward, but what came out of it is a new Borderlands 3 trailer.
Yeah. And like, I'm not a big Borderlands person, but like, I know that Gearbox have made stuff that people really like, and, you know, I'd like to see that studio do well. I think how a Borderlands fits into what shooters are in 2019, that is an interesting question. I think, like, I don't know what this thing's going to be. Like, do you think a classic straight up loot shooter like Borderlands was, does that fit into a world where, like, you know, Destiny and The Division 2 exist?
I think so. I think there's a certain level of fatigue, and I think these online loot shooters, they get it.
Schluter, please.
Shooters. Never get it fully right. Like, they never do. Like, The Division lacks in story, has a lot of loot. Anthem doesn't have a lot of loot. You can fly. You know, like, Destiny has cleaned up its act in great ways and is kind of better now, but they have learned, and they were the first ones to do it. I think there's space for something that's a bit more contained and maybe narrative focused. Like, I've never been that into Borderlands. I don't like the shooting in it particularly, and I don't like the character designs. I think they're kind of bad. But
I thought there was a lot of
them.
I thought there was a lot of same face going on with that trailer.
Yeah,
everyone has this weird pinched baby face.
People, it's a certain aesthetic, and people love it like a lot. It's not for me.
I've seen so many Borderlands cosplayers.
Yeah,
and they always cell shade themselves, don't they?
Yep.
Great.
It's not for me, but I think if they can pull it off, it definitely has a space. And I hope it's what the Borderlands fans want it to be. I think Gearbox need to get Randy off stage, or at least have him play a more limited role for the time being, at least. Because it doesn't play well, and he isn't even charismatic. Like, why the fuck is he there?
He's a magician, Niamh. Of course he's charismatic.
Like, wow.
Magic's really, really cool.
People like magic. Wrestling's basically magic.
Yeah.
Guys, did you see this trailer for the new Dragon Quest movie?
Yes.
Yeah. It was cool.
I thought it looked really cool.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
Yeah, really weird thing to see, because, like, there is like the odd 3D movie that comes out of Japan. Sometimes it's alright, sometimes it's not very good. I thought this looked really nice.
Yeah, because usually with Japanese animation, it's 2D digital. But when they do 3D animation, it's for video games. You don't really see something where they're like, let's do something like Pixar or DreamWorks are doing.
Yeah.
Except for, like, the motion capture stuff like you get with the Resident Evil movies or the Gantz O film.
Gantz O.
Yeah.
Just want to remind people that film's on Netflix. It's one of the greatest pieces of cinema of all time.
But, like, this had motion capture, I guess, but it's stylized Toriyama designs.
Yeah, I thought it was like a nice take on Toriyama's kind of style. And I guess I always get excited when I see a 3D movie nowadays that I don't feel has that, like, uncanny Pixar look. Because I really hate that now. Like, I am so tired of that. And I just thought the lighting was really beautiful, and, like, it was so cool to see Toriyama's, like, some of the classic monsters he's done for Dragon Quest really rendered to, like, the nth degree.
There's a really cool villain with a really long chin. Really liked that design. Really good. The only thing I really didn't like about this trailer is I feel like I know what the plot is. Like, it has, like, plucky young adventurer.
Okay, Niamh, you think you know what the plot is, right? But what if we get, like, this young adventurer, right? But okay, hang on. He's not just any adventurer. There's something kind of special about him. Yeah? Yeah, okay. Now, he needs to go on a quest in which he's going to kind of have to, like, assemble, like, a kind of ragtag group. Like, not just your average kind of, you know.
Maybe there could be a virginal Oracle style woman in it.
Yeah, but then later on you also meet, like, a sassier woman.
Oh yeah. Like, which one?
Yeah, like, which flavor of woman is it?
How about a non-sexual, probably male friend who's, like, shorter than you? And how about a bigger non-sexual male friend who's also not going to compete with you?
You know what really breaks my heart about this conversation? We're literally describing Dragon Quest XI.
Well, like, that's describing them all. And, like, this trailer looked really nice. It had the screaming boy at the end and stuff, and I was just like, I fucking know this story, and it's gonna look great, but I fucking know it, you know?
Yeah.
It'll be a safe bet narratively.
Dragon Quest usually is, but it's kind of like, it is the endearing charm. It pulls a lot of that shit off that makes it
but
decent.
I can forgive it when it's a game, you know? And I'm adventuring through that world. When it's a movie, I have a lot less patience.
When you don't have, like, game mechanics to get in the way of that.
Yeah.
I need to get back to Dragon Quest. I'm so fucking stuck on Sekiro. I can't play anything else.
I'm gonna get Dragon Quest when it comes out on Switch. I can't wait.
I am super keen to hear what you guys think of that.
Yeah, it's gonna be handheld. It's gonna be wild.
I'm also kind of jealous because I would love that game handheld.
You should play Final Fantasy IX, Brian.
I will. I'm watching Rebecca play
listen
it.
to her.
I'm going to be playing that too.
Okay, we'll play Dragon Quest.
I need to play both. I can play 9 now.
Brian, you're going to play 2 RPGs and you're going to get all locked up, just like me.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
My hair is just going to go woo.
That's it.
I'm going to have so many belts.
Assassin's Creed Division tease.
So in the Division, there is a poster of a Viking, and it says Valhalla over it, and it is holding the Apple of Truth. What the fuck is it called? The MacGuffin in all the Assassin's Creed games that I've played.
I don't know, fucking alien treasure.
Special magic apple
Whatever.
that's in it.
Brian, do you know aliens are in Assassin's Creed?
Of course they are. People of all races, genders, make those
thanks
games.
Ubisoft. The Apple of Eden. That's
Aliens
what it's called.
also. Those games are not racist. We have people
Actually,
from all diversities.
I have a little Ubisoft bone to pick, like just based on accessibility. The Division has accessibility options, so I went to make the text bigger. It only makes the menu text where you choose the text size to be bigger, smaller, bigger. It doesn't make any text anywhere else in the game bigger.
So subtitles are still small.
Subtitles are small, icons are still small, item descriptions are still small, everything else is small. Even the base menu is small. It's only in the settings where you select accessibility that the text has gotten bigger. And it's just like such a fucking lie. It's not accessible at all. Anyway, fuck Ubisoft.
So they're making...
The next Assassin's Creed, they're saying it's going to be Vikings. This is what the tease is.
They saw God of War and they were like, oh shit. We'll fucking make it anyway.
Yeah, next God of War will be in Egypt as well, and they were like, "Oh shit!" Make
Just
it anyway.
the 2 developers slowly circling around each other.
And other Ubisoft news: there was an update patch for Watch Dogs 2 for the people who are still playing Watch Dogs 2.
Good for them.
Question mark. But at they tweaked some, like, they fixed some glitches, they tweaked some things, they added some costumes. At the end of the end cutscene, there is dialogue between 2 characters playing. That's new, and they're like, oh, it's traveled across the world. And there's coordinates on top of the dialogue box. When you type in the dialogue coordinates from the dialogue box into Google Maps, it brings up the Brixton area of London. So the rumour is Watch Dogs 3 set in London. Jason Schreier pretty much confirmed it ages ago. But yeah, London Watch Dogs.
Sure.
Cool.
Let's see how they make a non-political game set in the UK right now.
I can't wait to see their...
Theresa May needs our help.
I know, but I'm just really curious to see how they like replicate real people without using their real names. Like, I want to see their version of Boris Johnson.
I bet they stay so clear of any of that stuff.
He'll be like Bungus Joham.
Yeah, Bungus Joham. But he's still on the bicycle with his fucking hair in the wind. Jesus.
Oh,
London's weird.
Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about PSN's ID changes?
Over a decade later, you can now change your PlayStation Network ID. This is rolling out this week. Sony. So this has been ongoing for years. That when you set up your PlayStation Network account, you have to put up your username. Cannot change it. You can change it on like pretty much any other system, even Nintendo. And Nintendo gets so much shit for their online, and it's not good. But at least you can fucking change your username. But Sony have announced that I think it's Wednesday or Thursday this week. You could change your username. But then you go to like Sony's like blog post about it, and here's 18 things you need to know. So I'm not going to read out all 18, but here's some select like little asterisks where you're like, okay,
some real top shelf stuff.
Okay, so let's say you're called Jellybean Pixie 2001 as your PlayStation Network ID, and you want to rename yourself as like Cold-Blooded Killer Motherfucker.
Fuck, what happened in the last 10 years?
Jellybean, why?
Okay, So you want to change your name? All right. Well, first of all, this is only for the PlayStation 4. It's not going to carry across to the PS3 and Vita. Fair enough.
Okay.
It's free the first time you change your name. If you want to change it again, it costs €8. Or if you're with PlayStation Plus, it only costs €4.
In fairness,
fuck off.
Microsoft did the same thing. If you wanted, you had their first name change free, and every time after that, it was a charge.
I mean, you know what? I can see a legitimate case as just to stop people changing their name to something super awful and then changing it back.
I think it could be as well that just at a ground level, the infrastructure is so difficult that they need to put in like actual manpower into resolving these issues that they do have to put a paywall with that as well.
I remember with the old Xbox stuff, you couldn't enter offensive things as your username, but I don't think you could enter them as your password either, which I always thought was really weird. I found out because I tried to call something Tiger Genocide, because that was back when I used to have passwords that were Street Fighter super combos.
Right. Sorry, it costs €10 to change your name.
What? That's
so the first time it's free. So I do think I think it's nice that there's the incentive that you have this embarrassing ID name and you want to change it.
Yes.
And now you have like your handle that you use for everything, your Twitter and your Instagram and all that. You want to unify it all into
your
one
brand.
Yeah, all one username. And now is your chance. But you gotta do it now, and you got one chance. There's other stuff where there's a cutoff point with some of the games. So games originally published from the 1st of April 2018, your ID will work on those. But games like Overwatch, for example, will use your original PlayStation ID because at a system level they cannot be changed.
That is nuts. That is like so recent.
That is so recent.
And so games that are big online, like GTA 5 and Overwatch, like are two good examples of this. Like I think Destiny 2.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
I know, last year.
Yeah.
No, before. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's
not
older.
in that window.
So I think all of that, like, it's still going to be your original dummy name.
That's fine. I have it printed on a t-shirt.
I just think that's insane. But yeah, and then the rest of them are just like hypothetical specifics. Like you can change your name as many times as you want. You just have to pay for it.
What are you guys going to change your names to?
I'm not changing my name. It's fine.
Same.
John, what are you changing your name to?
LFAB Master 420.
You fucking change it. I'm the LFAB Master 420.
I know. I just wanted to.
And who are you, Niamh?
Dank Moon.
Dank Moon. Wow.
Oh wow.
I'd like if the name change told a story like Brian's Jelly Bean example. Poor
Fine.
Jelly Bean. Just
cheesecake in bed.
Oh dear. Don't spill that.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat cheese. I don't think I could ever eat dessert in bed.
It came in a pot. It was fine.
One time I had Chinese food in bed. It was so cool until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Rice gets everywhere.
Yeah. Speaking of rice getting everywhere, Anthem, or more specifically Jason Schreier's piece about it. Have you guys read this?
Yes, most of it. It's a long read.
It's a long read.
About the poor staff who worked on that game.
Yeah. It was what really kind of stayed with me. Well, a lot of stuff stayed with me, but like one thing I was really surprised about is like, I guess listening to the early days of Anthem's development when it was still like, well, when it wasn't even Beyond, when it was Dylan. Did you hear about this, Brian?
No.
Okay. The code name.
Yeah, because it was called Beyond.
Yeah, it was, but before that, the code name for the project was Dylan.
That's someone's name.
Because
they named it after a child they didn't like.
That's not true. Because according to the team of Anthem, or the people working on it, they were making the Bob Dylan of video games.
What the fuck does that mean?
They were making a game that people would talk about for years and years to come.
I mean, kinda. Not for the same reason.
And so the original idea for Anthem, the flying was not a part of it. Like
That's the good bit.
It was not a part of it originally. It was constantly being taken in or put in and taken out constantly. And
That's how you design a game.
the original concept, which I thought was really fucking cool, was like you live in this city surrounded by these massive walls, and outside is like incredibly hostile territory. So it's like, imagine, like, from the way they made it sound, it was like, imagine, like, you know, you have this massive hub, this city where you can do all this stuff, and then outside is like a Dark Souls level that you're under leveled for, and you have to go out, and just surviving is hard, and you're going out with your friends and seeing how long you can survive until you finally have to, like, you know, grab whatever loot you can and then like hurry back to the city because whatever's out there is so fucking mean and dangerous. That sounds so cool to me. Like, I would love that. But then, you know, a lot of personnel change, a lot of feature creep, a lot of different people getting involved, just disastrous production cycle. That sounded like it was really incredibly difficult on the people making it. I was kind of heartbroken reading some of that stuff.
Yeah. Like,
stress casualty. Jesus.
It's nuts. Like, people taking up to 3 months leave for mental health issues that stemmed directly from working on this game.
Yeah.
People going to rooms to cry. People feeling like they had no direction. And just like what that really stuck with me as well was like they were hoping that Dragon Age Inquisition would fail really badly because it was born out of this kind of development cycle hell that they've been experiencing. But it did well, like, and they were kind of heartbroken. And imagine working on something for years and you kind of wanting it to fail so someone would kind of take notice at the working conditions. And that's just so sad. Really,
really sad. And like, the really sickening part of the article was like the mention of like Bioware magic, which is like, our productions are always a shit show, but it always comes together in the end somehow.
Is that just bullying and denial?
It's like, yeah, that somehow is like the fucking broken minds of your developers.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I guess now Andromeda and Anthem, they have to do something. What also came out of this, which was kind of really horrible, is Jason Schreier like reached out to Bioware for a statement, and they didn't provide one, but what they did do is on their blog put their own statement kind of preempting this article, and it was them kind of talking more about journalism and how they didn't feel they wanted to comment on it because they didn't think it was fair to tear down certain individuals, and they didn't think that was a good type of journalism and we should all be working together and all this kind of just fucking bullshit.
The thing is though, like, they're right. That is bad journalism. That's not what this article is.
No, it's like they hadn't read it and they assumed a lot of things, and they assumed a lot of things probably based on some people need to be probably called out.
Yeah.
But they, like, it was just like so weird and tone deaf and made the whole thing worse.
Yeah. Like,
to try and get out in front of an article that just like is talking about your employees crying by blaming journalism, like, is pretty gross.
And it's like, even the little bits, like, you know, we're really proud of everything we've, like, it's like, this is not the time for that. Like, this is not the time to try and like up your company. Like, clearly something is wrong here. Your last 2 major releases have been absolute train wrecks. Your employees are miserable, and now like these articles are getting written. Like, some accountability, I think, would have gone a long way.
There's been a follow-up article as well by Jason about Dragon Age and where that is, and how a lot of this, because it was basically going to go into this Anthem article, but it was already so long, but how there was a team on Dragon Age and they were moved onto the failing Andromeda to kind of pull it back, and then the team wanted to go back to Dragon Age because they were kind of felt like they were making something good with it, and then that version, Dragon Age 4, got completely axed because they wanted to make it more of a live service. So now a new version. So again, with Anthem, it's where this development.
Wait, are we looking at a Dragon Age live service?
That's what they want. I don't know. That's what EA wanted. That's what they said they wanted from this article. I don't know if that will happen after the conversation with Anthem, after everything that's happened with that, after all these kind of exposés. Like, I don't know. Maybe they'll reshift it again, but Like, that's
God,
not what anyone
so.
fucking wants out of Dragon Age.
No.
But Casey Hudson, the head of Bioware, sent an email to staff acknowledging the issues highlighted by Jason in the article, and saying, like, I think the big deal is that he did acknowledge them, but the email was drafted in such a way where it was just like, we want you to leak this, you know, because it was kind of like, we hear what you're saying, you know, kind of thing, and we're gonna do better.
There's a few phrases, like, in I can't remember if this was in Hudson's email or the original statements, but it was like something like, you know, we know there's issues and we're going to continue to, like, try and fix them. And it's like, motherfuckers, you haven't been continuing shit. Like, that, you are not, like, whatever you are doing is completely ineffective.
Yeah, you need
Do
to put up
not
your hands and
continue
admit
it.
it.
Yeah, like, it's time for drastic reevaluations.
And, like, there's no way to know if that's a load of hot air and nothing will ever come from it. Like, there's no union, so they're not going to be held to any, like, standard. But what it does show is that reporting like Jason's, because there was like there's a bit of pushback sometimes when he does reports like this. I remember with Telltale and stuff, like, people were like, people don't want to know about their jobs and stuff, like, true, like, reporting on Kotaku or whatever. But it's like, people
don't want to find out stuff about
about, like,
They
being
don't
let
want,
go.
like, bummers.
Yeah, like, there's people have a weird reaction to this type of reporting for some reason.
Well, I think
They like not knowing where the games come from.
Generally, whenever you put out anything negative, like, you are going to get people taking offense to it no matter what you are saying.
And like, it's just like, this is kind of necessary because, like, as someone working on a production or in a development team, sometimes you cannot say something. People around you can't say something. Your team leads can't say something. This is your livelihood. You have people leveraging your ability to eat and be housed against you, and it's hard to speak on these things. Everyone who spoke to Jason did so, like, anonymously, and like it's important that journalism like this exists, because these are games people love, they make millions, and the people who are actively making them are suffering and are sick and are taking 3 months off and crying, and we shouldn't be okay with that.
No, definitely not.
And reporting like this shines a light on it. It gets more support for the idea of unionizing, and, like, it's really important, and it's just really beyond me that some people have a problem with this type of reporting.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
I wish this type of reporting happened all across the creative industries.
Totally.
Because
100%.
a lot of studios need a spotlight shone on them like this. But it's a really great article. It's on Kotaku. Go look it up. The Dragon Age follow-up is great as well.
I really want to read that.
Yeah.
Super disappointed to hear that might be a live service.
Yeah, as someone who's a long-time Bioware fan, I'm really bummed. Like,
yeah, because, like, poor choice of words. There was a magic to Bioware back in the day. Like, I still remember putting in Mass Effect 2 and just being like, oh shit, these guys are doing something completely different to anyone else. I would love to see that studios turn it around, but Jesus Christ, like, it's horrible to think that, like, what's fueling their games now is kind of human misery. But yeah, guys, I need something to cheer me up. Let's say we do some
Right, everyone, we have an email account just like you do, because if you want to make a podcast, you have to make an email account.
We're just regular, just regular folk, just like you, listener.
But the thing was, when we set up the email account, we thought, okay, let's call it Ask Let's Fight a Boss at gmail.com.
That was entirely my fault. I could not for the life of me tell you why I made it Ask Let's Fight a Boss and not just Let's Fight a Boss. Maybe Let's Fight a Boss was taken.
Probably. But the thing is we like your emails, and we like them in the question format rather than the, I just have a comment for you guys. So do please ask us a question at Ask Let's Fight a Boss.
If you do have any comments, just open up one of our YouTube videos, go to the comments section, and then don't leave anything and walk away.
At gmail.com.
Ask Let's Fight a Boss at gmail.com. Brian, what we got?
All right, I got 2 quick ones for me here first.
Okay,
This first one is from my boy Turbosonic 714.
Hell yeah!
Which Metroid and which Kirby game do you recommend for a newcomer? Okay, Metroid, I recommend Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance. For Kirby, I recommend Kirby's Fun Pack, aka Kirby Superstar. It's on the SNES and on the DS. That is a excellent game to start with for both of those series. Okay, then the other one, and I guess this for all of us, it's called Hey Guys. So you know it's going to be good. It's from Blades. So we got 3 questions here. What weapons do you like to use in Soulsborne games?
Oh, I like the hammer thing.
You like hammers?
Yeah.
You like something with a slow wind up?
I'm big
drop.
into slow wind ups, big hits.
Yeah.
I like to have some distance between me and an enemy, so I like spears, staffs. I really like the saw cleaver extended in Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Like, I never played with it small. It was always big and long.
I like saw cleaver small. I like quick, fast weapons. There's a DLC weapon in Bloodborne called Simon's Bowblade, and it's a bow, but it's great for distance. And then I like the Whirly Gig Saw because it's a literal fucking chainsaw on a stick.
That's pretty cool.
And it's called the Whirly Gig Saw. I think that's a very funny name.
That's a great name.
I love halberds in Dark Souls. I think they're
I spent a lot of Dark Souls 1 with a halberd.
yeah, great weapon. What's your opinion on 3D animated anime, such as Knights of Sidonia and Ajin?
Yeah, something like that.
I guess we kind of covered this with the Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I guess real quick, I just say, like, I would like to see more 3D anime, but I would like to see 3D anime stop trying to imitate 2D anime. I'd like to see just, use that medium to its strengths. Do a Spider-Verse, do something. Well, you can't just do a Spider. You know what I mean? It's like, I'd like to see them just embrace what's strong about 3D rather than trying to emulate a 2D style. Although if you can do it as well as Atlas and Guilty Gear, then go nuts.
Yeah, there's a new anime on Netflix, and it looks like it's cel shaded 3D, but it looks like the openings to the Fire Emblem games, the more recent ones.
Really?
I can't remember the name of the anime. It's like a reboot of something.
Yeah. What do you guys think about it?
I think it's fine. I like you. I wish they would kind of go more stylized with it, because like there's amazing like sculptors and stuff on Twitter making amazing 3D art, and it's like you can push this. You can you see people who do like the Hellboy like comic shaded like sculpts and stuff like this. There's a lot of good looking 3D art out there, and like 3D animation in like snippets and clips online, and I just think it needs to find its space in a series.
Yeah, I think we're still really early on with that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd hope in the next 10, 20 years we really start to see it open up and see people do stuff with 3D that's not imitating what's already out there and not imitating mediums that already exist.
I think it can be used well in 2D as well to maybe to do a crowd scene or something like that, where to draw all those characters is gonna suck ass, but are just backgrounds or some objects. It can look bad and it can look really well and seamless when done right, and I think it's a tool like anything else that should be used, and if it's used well it can just look great.
Then the last question is, what's one gift you would give to each of the other members of the podcast?
I actually have a gift I need to give to Niamh, so I'm gonna withhold answering for her.
And not for me.
You didn't do anything good recently, Brian.
What the fuck does she do that was so good? I make the effort. She makes the effort.
She tries.
It's effortless.
Okay, I remember once.
So watch out, you're getting nothing. Niamh, can I have what John gave you?
Sure.
Right.
A packed bong for Bryan.
Yeah. Gonna rip that shit.
And a really good donut for John.
Hell yeah. I remember one time I got Bryan a book, and it had kind of maps for the Bloodborne areas.
Yeah.
And I was very satisfied with that because Bryan loves maps and he loves Bloodborne. So I was very happy with that. In terms of what I give him now, That's tricky. Bryan is a hard one to get presents for because he already buys everything he wants. So, oh dear.
John last year got me a pillow of the twins from The Matrix Reloaded.
That's how deep you gotta go, folks.
It's very specific. I own that pillow. It's in my bedroom. I like to chill out on it.
And then with Niamh is a very like aesthetic centric person. Visuals mean a lot to her, so if you can like capitalize on that, I find is my best like treasure buying approach. But that's difficult too.
Okay, I'm gonna get Niamh some Huff brand clothing, and I'm gonna get John some hentai.
Nice.
No complaints.
Yeah, Huff and hentai.
One of my favorite things Bryan ever got me was a piece of hentai.
Of who?
Doesn't matter. We're not saying.
Can I say?
No. Bryan. No. Moving on.
Will I read the next email?
Yeah.
This is from Boxy, and it says, "Hey Niamh, Bryan, and Niamh too. I've been listening to
Wait,
more.
what?
I've been listening to more audiobooks during work recently, and I've got a few questions in mind I want to ask. What do you think of audiobooks in general?
Great.
Good.
Are they a replacement for reading the book?
Kind of, sometimes.
I mean, it's a different experience, but whatever you're into.
I think they've replaced reading books completely for me.
Do you know what they probably have? Yeah, no.
For me, I find reading books really helps me fall asleep a lot. Whatever it does to my mind, it always just puts me in a kind of sleepy state where sometimes like if the the person reading the audiobook is really good and they're like, and then he approached the edge of the cliff, and I'm like, but I don't get that when reading books.
I'm just like such a slow reader, and I don't have a lot of time, so I can like...
Yeah, you can multitask on an
Yeah,
audiobook.
I can like do work while listening to an audiobook kind of thing, but like reading will take me 6 months to finish a book.
Yeah,
It'll take me like
forever.
20 hours to finish
I've
an
been reading
audiobook.
Roadside Picnic since the fan gave it to us, and it's a great book, and I really enjoy like the 3.5 pages I get through every night.
I liked the book that I was given as well, The Left Hand of Darkness, so much that I bought the audiobook on my Audible because I was just like, I cannot get through this writing.
That's a real seal of approval,
yeah,
isn't it?
so I'm listening to the audiobook of that right now. Versus, is reading it yourself the true experience?
Can be if you want, but you know.
Like it's whatever's important to you.
Does Sekiro
Yeah.
need an easy mode? I don't know. it's that.
For some people, yes, I think the smell of a book and reading a book will mean a lot to them. And like,
book smells so good.
But then I think like a narrator for a book can also infer a lot because like when I started listening to audiobooks, I was actually shocked at how like I was like, oh, I would have read that I would have put like a completely different emphasis on that sentence or read it in like a different emotion in my head, and it was like, wow, so I guess like if you want a really pure read on the story, whatever the fuck that is, yeah, books are good, but I mean it can be really amazing to have a talented actor read you a book as well.
a lot of books are read by their author as well. So I recently finished Donna Tartt's Secret History, which I hated. That was terrible. That was 22 hours of my life I'll never get back.
So long for an audiobook.
It's so fucking long. It's like beautifully written, but it's just about like pretentious children getting away with murder, and I hated all of them, and I wanted them to die consistently throughout the whole thing, but they don't, and they get away with everything. I really didn't like the characters, and I was just like, you know, maybe it's the narrator putting a spin on the dialogue, and it's just like not, if this was read differently, I would like them better. Then I checked the narrator, and the narrator was Donna Tartt, and I was like, oh, so this is exactly how condescending they're meant to sound. So I got the purest, you know, version of those characters because they were narrated by the author who intended them to sound that way.
I'm reading I'm listening to I wish we had like a proper for like listening to an audiobook. But listen to one of the moments about time management by this guy called David Allen, who's like this business dude, and it's him reading it out as well, and it's really funny because he just has this real kind of like very calm way of speaking, but there's moments where he just starts talking about karate in it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just this old business dude being like, your mind must be still like water. just like in karate. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it. It's like super helpful.
Yeah, I recently listened to Blood, Sweat and Pixels by Jason Schreier.
Oh, I've read that.
Kotaku. Yeah, it's cool because like that audiobook is like 10 hours long, so you can listen to it in a week, and that book would take you more than a week to read.
Certainly did me.
Yeah, I love
great book.
Yeah, I love non-fiction audiobooks because it's basically a documentary without the picture.
Yeah, the Louis Theroux one I really like.
Oh my god, they're amazing.
Because it's just a Louis Theroux documentary, like without pictures.
But then he does the impressions of the Americans he meets.
Yeah,
and they're so fucking good.
So good.
Stuff I really like. Biographies. I like. I've used Apple computers all my life, so I listened to the Steve Jobs biography.
That's really good.
That's a good
book. He's an asshole. That was a great book.
Yeah, like it is an honest portrayal of that man. But it's read by Dylan Baker, and I love that actor. He was the original Dr. Kirk Connors in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. So they have him doing the audiobook. He's also in Happiness as a really fucked up dude.
I don't remember much of Happiness. I need to watch that. I just remember the bits from Happiness that you fucking remember.
Yeah, it's a dark fucking film. So no, I do really like actors like that where you're like, oh yeah.
Flip side of that is sometimes like when you get a bad voice actor, like you know the Robin Hobb books. You know the way they have there's like a 9-book series, and the first 3 are the assassins. The second 3 are the
live ship traders.
The live ship traders.
Yeah.
The woman who reads those is the most droll fucking voice, and those books are already like those are like 400 or 500 pages. It is really difficult to get through.
The guy who does Game of Thrones, Roy Dotrice, he makes some weird choices with the voices.
Yeah,
I think after a while, like when you have a huge cast of characters, like you can do like 4 voices convincingly. When you're on to character number 9, you're like pulling shit out of your ass. You know?
He gave Tyrion Lannister a weird Welsh accent.
Oh yeah, and Tyrion's like, "Hello, I am a Tyrion." If I did audiobook readings, there'd be like 18 Southern gentlemen. Looks like we got ourselves a Kingslayer here.
The Flowers in the Attic books, which, do you remember, like, this is like a year ago, you asked me, like, is there anything, like, as a former piece of media that you think is too fucked up even for you? And I was like, nope. I now have an answer. Flowers in the Attic. Those fucking books are disgusting.
Okay, I'm going to read that.
What are they?
They fucked me up.
No, Niamh, he's given us enough.
Okay.
It broke Bryan. We need to experience it.
It's Southern Gothic, and Southern Gothic is too much for me.
Oh, so yeah, okay.
And they're written by V.C. Andrews, who just seems like a cruel woman. But the person doing the audiobooks isn't her, but it is also another cruel woman who just sounds like she sounds like Principal Skinner's mom.
Oh no.
But just being like, and like talking down to you as she reads out the book.
I really like the Stephen King short story audiobooks because sometimes they get actors from The Simpsons to read out the books. So if you want to hear Lisa Simpson say fuck.
No, Yardley, why would you do that? I like Bill Bryson audiobooks as well. They're really, really interesting.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they're really good.
I do think nonfiction works best as an audiobook because
I like a mix of both.
Yeah.
I listened to an audiobook at the start of the year called So You've Been Publicly Shamed, because I feel like that's become relevant to what I am. And
oh dear.
That was it's by the guy who did like the Psychopath Test and Men Who Stare at Goats. What's his name?
Oh God, I will find out.
Boy Man. But he actually reads it himself, and I wish he didn't. He does not have a great reading voice.
Is he the guy that does all the TED Talks?
Probably.
Yeah. Nah.
Good book though.
Those books are good, but yeah, he does read every single one himself, and you're like, eh. John Ronson.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith, I think, is a pretty good audiobook.
He could tell a good story when he wants to. Sometimes he talks out his ass, but sometimes he could spin a good yarn.
Yeah, he totally can.
His stories about wanting to make films are always better than the films he makes sometimes.
Nearly universally, yes.
Yeah. But his main audiobook is very good, or his main book.
We got one more question.
Let me finish that one off.
Oh.
we went on a tangent. Are there any audiobooks that you would recommend? I think we named a good few there. Is there any specific ones you would like to throw out?
No.
I love the audiobook to the first Ender's Game, but Orson Scott Card's a piece of shit, so make sure to pirate it.
And it's got really good sound design as well.
Yeah, like it's an
really
amazing,
textured.
amazing production, and like the person reading it is one of the most talented voice actors I've ever heard. Enhances that story to no end, but don't pay for it.
My recommendation would be The Little Friend. It's a Donna Tartt book. It's about a little girl who solves a murder of her brother. It's very good. It's very depressing. Really liked it. Have there been narrators? We answered that. Thanks for the podcast. It really makes time fly. If you read this, please don't get my name wrong, Niamh. You said Flyby last time. Okay, thank you, Flyby. You spelt my name wrong 3 times. That was from Boxy.
Boom! You take shots at us, you get fucking taken out.
Fuck that. You got fucked. Okay, we got one last email, and it's more geared towards John. This is from Steve. That's right. Hallows Eve. It's your boy Steve.
You can use that from now on, Steve.
At least your name wasn't Mark, because then you'd be Mark After Dark, but that's a different story. So imagine you have to make a team for Yu Yu Hakusho's Dark Tournament. Who would your team of 5 be, and why? It could be from movies, anime, video games, whatever media you want.
Okay, the thing I have fantasized about the most in my entire life is what I would do if I entered the Dark Tournament and what my team would be.
So it's a team of
What's
5,
wrong- what's wrong,
including...
Niamh?
You're not allowed to be in the team. You have to just pick the people in the
Niamh,
team.
of course I'm not allowed to be in the fucking team. Have you seen the Dark Tour? Do you know what happens?
I guess I believed in you more than you believed in yourself.
That can't be true.
Okay, I call dibs on RoboCop.
Okay. So are we just going to go around the table and do a draft?
Well, okay. How about we each name a person, and then that's our draft. But then we can like take away a name or two if we're not sure.
Okay, I'll do one. Niamh, you do one.
Okay.
Bryan, and we have to do it until we get a team of 5. Starting off, or Mika.
Okay, Lisa Simpson.
RoboCop.
Just a giant pissed off ostrich.
Godzilla.
Rila Kuma.
Tyrion Lannister.
Fuck.
A swan.
Fuck. Man, I hope my ostrich doesn't fight your son.
The Velociraptor that can open up doors in Jurassic Park.
Shit. The little girls from The Shining.
Ooh. Jason.
Principal Skinner's mom.
Oh no!
I'm genuinely shook by her now. Okay, last one.
Last pick. Okay, gotta make it a good one. Shadow the Hedgehog with his gun.
Dark Jack from Jack 2. He's dark now.
One of the bananas in pajamas.
Oh!
When you separate them, they turn into psychopaths. Oh,
There you go. There's some fucking teams right there.
Oh, Dark Tournament's so good. You know, Niamh, manager characters actually aren't uncommon in the Dark Tournaments. In fact, there's 3 that appear during the course of Yu Yu Hakusho.
Thanks. I've learned nothing of value.
I do really like how in Dark Tournament there's a bunch of demons cheering it on, and there's demons competing. But then there's also just human businessmen.
Yeah, just really fucked up guys.
Because they're so close in contact with hell that of course they would be.
Yeah,
at the Dark
they're
Tournament.
just rich white men, and fuck them because they're so evil. Oh, that's one of the best arcs of all time.
One of the best emails of all time. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, I got a burning need to contribute to a Patreon. It's got to be now, and so I really need some help out with this.
Do you know we have a Patreon?
What, this podcast?
Let's Fight a Boss has a Patreon.
That's fucking crazy. When did this happen?
1 year ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, our Patreon is a year old now.
That's crazy. Wow.
Thanks to all our lovely patrons.
Yeah.
It continues to do far better than this podcast has any right to.
Yeah. If you've been supporting our Patreon 12 months now, thank you so much. If you've been supporting it 11 months, wait a month. Thank you so much.
But yeah, no, we super really appreciate it. It's always so cool to see, like, I guess just the support the podcast gets. We got some messages to read out in our Patreon shoutouts.
Yes, we do.
Patreon /
LFAB.
No, patreon.com.
People know the .com.
They don't know anymore. It could be.
They know.
It could be .biz. You don't know.
You just shut the fuck up for a second, okay?
It could be.
Cash out the door, Niamh.
I can't believe someone would just not put in the .com.
/
The internet's complicated.
LFA, and I need not V, B, like Bryan, not Brian.
Bryan.
Bryan.
Okay, our first one we got from Crab Dragoon. Please don't say my name wrong. The joke is lost if you call me Crab Dragon. Buddy, I'm afraid it's kind of lost if we call you Crab Dragoon.
Brian, you go first.
Okay, this is from Chocolope. I want to post. I want to post mainly to see how they'll pronounce my username.
Chocolope.
Chocolope. Chocolope.
Chocolope.
Chocobo.
This is from David Hammond. I kind of want to post mainly so they read out my name and I feel validated.
There is an honest shout out right there. Fair play, David. You are a hero.
You're the best one of everyone.
Thank you so much for giving us your money, David.
We really appreciate it. Thank you. Guys, what say we wind things down with some loot drops?
There's no loot drops here from you guys. What's going on?
I had to think about this a lot, and my loot drop is going to be Stronger from Britney Spears.
Okay, we'll circle around and you can do your actual loot drop at the end. I'm gonna loot drop H Bomber Guy's new video. He's kind of go-to for me with this stuff, and I guess what I really liked about this video is all it is H Bomber Guy sitting on a fake bed and talking for 40 minutes. And somehow I think it might be my favorite video he's ever done. I thought it was fantastic. It's about Transformers and him having a midlife crisis, and it's just a really, really good video.
Great video. Then mine is from my dear girlfriend Rebecca. She has a webcomic called Valerie. I'm going to be linking her webcomic, and she is currently kickstarting a physical edition of that webcomic. So you can read it completely for free if you want.
If you're a fucking thief.
Yeah. But I think it's super cool that there's a physical edition coming out soon as well. And you've got until the end of April if you're interested. She does the artwork for our podcast. So if you like the artwork that you see, you'll definitely like this comic.
Yeah, Rebecca's done she's done a bunch of cool stuff for us. She's done a bunch of cool stuff for Super Eye Patch Wolf. And it's really fucking awesome to see her apply her talents to a full comic like this. And I think separate from anything else, I think the comic is great. It's really, really good. It's my favorite thing she's ever done, and I would really love the LFAB community to back her on this one, because she really deserves it, and it's a great piece of work.
Yes. She's one of us, and she's made something original.
She's part of the mysterious LFAB 3, the Shadow Family.
Her level of backgrounds are insane.
Yeah.
Every panel, there's a very big background.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous looking comic.
Yeah.
It's still Britney. Britney is going through a very hard time right now. She's checked herself into a mental hospital.
Oh no.
Really?
Her dad is sick.
She was doing so good for a while.
I know. And it's just I'm just kind of reflecting on the time when Britney had her mental breakdown in the 2000s.
I think it was 2009.
2009
when she shaved her head.
Yeah, maybe 2007, ish, around that time. And media was so callous and cruel to her, and I just like now how she can go and take care of herself and be open about it, and people are hopefully not being assholes about it. So Britney, watched a Will and Grace episode with her in it today. Hope she's doing well. Stronger for Britney Spears.
That's really cool. It's a wrestler who recently did not have his debut that was planned because of mental health issues, and everyone was really cool about it, and the WWE were really open about it, and I was like, that's cool. People should take care of themselves.
Yes.
And that, dear listener, is the note we're going to leave you with.
Hush, just stop.
There's nothing you can do or say.
Bang, bang.
What the fuck is happening?
It's slam poetry.
Yeah.
Play us out.
Twinkle Park, you got this. Bye.
Bye.